Chapter 1671. Everyone was shocked. From this point alone, it could be seen how terrifying Lin Xian and Dan Feng's strength were. Dan Feng frowned slightly when she saw the arena shaking. However, she heaved a sigh of relief when she saw the entire array was strengthened again. Junior brother Lin, you have to be careful from now on. I won't show you any mercy. As she spoke, the light on her body surged. In an instant, a shocking energy fluctuation erupted from Dan Feng's body. It was as if an ancient fire god had descended to the mortal world. If it was before, Lin Xian would probably have to go all out to deal with such a situation. However, he had already broken through to become a 3-star king. His strength had undergone a drastic change. Therefore, he could deal with it easily now. Feeling the other party's explosive power, Lin Xian also let out a long roar. Countless sword chi rushed out quickly, and his aura also rose abruptly. Kill. Lin Xian took the lead. With a wave of his arm, a sharp sword light slashed forward like lightning. It was too fast, so fast that no one could react. On the opposite side, Dan Feng's pupils shrank. She did not expect the other party's swordsmanship to be so sharp. Therefore, she tapped her foot, and her body flashed out instantly like a fiery shadow. At the same time, she formed a seal with her palms and quickly performed a unique skill. A fire qilin roared out. Its body was like a small mountain, and the scales on it were shining. The flames flickered, as if it was a real divine beast. As soon as the fire qilin appeared, the entire void collapsed instantly, and a powerful aura swept out in all directions. This is the fire qilin mark. I didn't expect Dan Feng to perform a unique skill right away. It seems like she won't give Lin Xian a chance at all. It can't be helped. This is the Holy Land selections. No matter how good their relationship is, I'm afraid she won't go easy on him now. Moreover, the two of them don't have much interaction at all. Everyone exclaimed. Without a doubt, the fire qilin mark was a very terrifying, unique skill. Sure enough, the fire qilin roared in all directions, and with 5 colored flames, it directly blew away all the sword chi in front of it. What a strong flame aura. It seems that the other party also has a unique flame. Lin Xian was slightly surprised, but he was not too worried, because he had only used 30% of his strength in that strike. He did not wish to reveal all of his strength, thus he had concealed his strength. Not bad, not bad. Lin Xian nodded slightly, then stretched out his palm. Suddenly, boundless black flames condensed and formed a huge dragon claw that grabbed forward. What followed was an earth-shattering dragon roar. Boom! The two collided, causing a huge explosion. The two flames clashed in the air, and terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Fortunately, the defensive array formation had been strengthened a lot. Otherwise, the attack would have definitely shattered the entire array formation like the previous one. Lin Xian's dragon claw was incomparably terrifying, and the 9 underworld devil flame was also extremely powerful. Therefore, under this claw, the fire qilin was directly smashed into pieces. Immediately, the 5 colored flames scattered and drifted in all directions. What? The fire qilin was smashed to pieces. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian's methods to be so powerful. Lin Xian's strength is too terrifying. Yeah, it's really surprising that he could break Dan Feng's unique skill. However, someone snorted. What do you know? This is just the beginning. Dan Feng probably did not use his full strength at all. Just wait and see. This kid is definitely going to lose. Sounds of discussion could be heard. In the arena, Dan Feng frowned slightly. She did not expect that the opponent's dragon claw would be so powerful that it could smash her fire qilin. However, although she was frowning, she did not care much, because, as everyone had said, she did not use her full strength. Instead, she used 50% of her strength. Thinking about it, Dan Feng must have used his full strength to smash her attack with the black dragon claw, which was at least 90% of his strength. Thinking of this, the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. She was ready to go all out and not give Dan Feng a chance. Junior brother Lin, I have to say that you are indeed surprising. But next, you won't have any chance. This battle can end now. As Dan Feng's voice was heard, the surrounding flames suddenly surged. Then, they quickly intertwined in the air, forming a flame picture scroll. This flame picture scroll kept rolling and shaking in the air. In the end, it enveloped the entire arena. It's out. It's Dan Feng's king domain. Everyone exclaimed. Indeed, the space formed by the picture scroll was Dan Feng's king domain. Fire beacon map of mountains and rivers. This was an extremely terrifying domain. Ordinary 5-star kings could not withstand a single move from the fire beacon map of mountains and rivers at all. And Dan Feng merged into the picture scroll. Her entire person was like a flame fairy. The fire beacon map of mountains and rivers covered heaven and earth, as if it was going to refine the entire space. Dan Feng stood in the void and waved her hand. Suddenly, the fire beacon map of mountains and rivers spun rapidly, forming a huge suction force that enveloped Lin Xian. It was as if it was going to devour him. Buzz! In an instant, Lin Xian was sucked into a sea of fire. 5-colored light shone, and all kinds of strange flames rushed toward him quickly. The raging flames could burn everything in the world. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Clenching his fist, countless flames formed a black longsword that then swept out. The pitch-black sword light swept across heaven and earth, carrying a sharp aura as it charged toward the surrounding sea of fire. At this moment, Lin Xian also increased his combat strength, reaching about 50% of his strength. The sword chi was extremely terrifying. It directly tore apart the sea of fire, forming cracks. Whoosh! Lin Xian used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and retreated from these cracks. Senior sister is indeed amazing. The king domain formed by the fire beacon map of mountains and rivers is indeed terrifying. Lin Xian said indifferently. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were extremely frightened. At this moment, even Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng frowned. Dan Feng was even more shocked. She did not expect him to come out so easily. It was really out of her expectations. Looks like I've underestimated you. Dan Feng's face was as cold as ice. Up until now, the other party had given her too many surprises, causing her to be a little out of control. Therefore, she could not let him continue to be arrogant. In the next moment, she waved her hand. Immediately, the 5-colored flames in the sky surged rapidly, forming fire phoenixes in the air and charging downward. Each of them was like a real monster, incomparably terrifying. Lin Xian also attacked fiercely. He held the black flame longsword in his hand and quickly slashed forward. The sword chi was like a black fire dragon. The divine dragon swung its tail, instantly causing the entire void to collapse. The black dragon and the fire phoenix fought, and terrifying energy erupted. Lin Xian also used the dragon sword domain to surround him. He used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and quickly dodged. Chapter 1672. On the other side, the red phoenix's expression was solemn, waving her jade-like hands nonstop. Lin Xian's attack power was seriously too terrifying. The dragon-beating sword soul was incomparably powerful, far exceeding the red phoenix's expectations. So, very soon, that black dragon directly charged to red phoenix's side. Baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, the black flames all over its body trembled, just like a real demonic beast, full of a terrifying aura. Roar! With a dragon roar, the black dragon claw quickly grabbed towards the Red Phoenix. Humph! The Red Phoenix's body retreated, completely merging into the Fire Beacon River and mountain painting. Following that, the 5-colored flames around her fluttered rapidly, forming a 5-colored flame battle armor in front of her. Not just that, a 5-colored long whip even appeared in her hand, completely condensed by flames. A whip lashed out. The terrifying power tore the sky apart. Bang, bang, bang. The long whip similarly turned into a flood dragon, and the black dragon battled together. Lin Xian and the Red Phoenix attacked non-stop, each attack incomparably terrifying. But the surrounding people were crying out in surprise. They did not expect that this battle would actually be so exciting, far exceeding their expectations. Heaven! This Lin Xian is too powerful. Fighting until now, there are no signs of defeat. More than that, why do I feel that the two are evenly matched? Yeah, could it be that the Red Phoenix still held back strength and did not go all out? One discussion after another sounded out. Everyone's voices were full of shock. In the second arena, Hong Yu's gaze flickered, staring fixedly at this battle. In his eyes, golden light bloomed, incomparably mysterious. By the side, Huan Ling's siblings also had solemn expressions. Very clearly, regardless of whether it was the Red Phoenix or Lin Xian's combat power, it made them feel thick pressure, while Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng's expressions were even more solemn. Others might not be able to tell, but the two of them knew. Most likely, the Red Phoenix already went all out, but she still could not do anything to the other party. This seriously surprised them too much. Who is this kid to actually have such combat power, fighting on par with Red Phoenix? Xiao Cheng was extremely shocked, but Ding Peng's expression was gloomy. No idea why, when he looked at this battle, he suddenly thought of that mysterious Demon King. As the Purple Sun sect's eldest personal disciple, he had never been defeated. But not long ago, Immortal was defeated at the hands of a mysterious Demon King. Until now, he still didn't know who the other party was. Moreover, after that battle, the other party seemed to have disappeared into thin air and never appeared again. Ding Peng even suspected that the mysterious Demon King wasn't a disciple of the 3 sections. Perhaps a mysterious expert had sneaked in. But now, seeing Dan Feng and Lin Xian's match, he was extremely shocked in his heart, because he felt that the young man called Lin Xian was too suspicious. Back then, in the first stage, the other party was acting alone. At that time, he didn't care. He thought that the other party's cultivation was low. It was impossible for him to possess that kind of combat strength. But now it seemed the other party's battle prowess was indeed heaven-defying. In fact, he could even be on par with them. This made him even more suspicious. He was alone, and his battle prowess was heaven-defying. It was very likely that he was the mysterious Demon King. However, he wasn't very sure. That was because the Demon King from that day did not use sword techniques. Furthermore, he did not have the aura of the sword Dao. Instead, he displayed an extremely violent and destructive fist technique. However, although this Lin Xian in front of him was powerful, he did not have that kind of destructive aura. Instead, he had an extremely sharp sword Dao aura. Obviously, these were 2 completely different cultivation methods. It was hard for him to imagine that a martial artist could cultivate both the sword Dao and the fist technique to such a terrifying realm at the same time. Therefore, he was still only suspicious and could not be sure. However, his gaze was as sharp as the edge of a blade. He was waiting. As long as Lin Xian displayed any signs of the destructive fist technique, he would be able to confirm whether the other party was the mysterious Demon King or not. In the arena, Dan Feng's expression was also solemn. Up until now, she was more and more shocked in her heart. The other party's strength was like a bottomless pit. There was no limit to it at all. She didn't even know how much the other party's true battle prowess was. She even suspected that the other party had not even used his full strength. If it was before, she would definitely think that this idea was laughable. But now, after fighting with Lin Xian, she realized that this young man in front of her was absolutely terrifying. However, as one of the three great prodigies, she would not admit defeat so easily. Therefore, she waved her jade-like hand again. Immediately, the flame whip in her hand turned from a fire dragon into a five-colored divine bird. Divine light bloomed. Its cry shook heaven and earth. Like a five-colored peacock, divine light flickered as it swooped down. But Lin Xian's expression was calm. He waved the black long sword in his hand. The sword light gently slid. Countless sword energy gushed out. It was as if streaks of black underworld rivers were crisscrossing in front. That five-colored peacock could not get close at all. But above, Dan Feng cried out delicately. The aura on her body suddenly bloomed. It was as if a five-colored sun was shining in all directions. At this moment, Dan Feng was powerful to the extreme. The surrounding fire beacon river and mountain painting was even more incomparably terrifying. From the endless volcanoes, a majestic figure walked out, standing indomitable. Fire light surrounded him, as if a fire god had descended. That figure was like a flame giant, walking forward, as if crossing through time and space. It was hard to believe. With every step he took, the sky trembled a fraction. With every step he took, the flame aura on his body rose by a large margin. When he arrived in front of Lin Xian, the entire void completely collapsed. A terrifying aura swept across heaven and earth. This flame giant was like a true god. Fire light surrounded him all over. It was terrifying to the extreme. Lin Xian even felt a trace of danger. He did not expect that this fire beacon river and mountain painting was actually so mysterious. It could summon such a terrifying giant. However, he was not afraid of the other party. Waving the black longsword in his hand, Lin Xian launched an intense battle with that flame giant. The arena shook, heaven and earth rumbled. If not for the Holy Land's array formation, the entire valley would have sunk in an instant. However, even with that being the case, the frightening energy still caused the entire mountain range to tremble nonstop. Everyone held their breaths, paying close attention. Such a battle was rarely seen normally. Lin Xian waved his longsword. Each sword energy was like 1,000 feet long dragon, quickly gushing out and roaring in front. Terrifying sword light rushed into the clouds. The red phoenix, on the other hand, was controlling the flame giant, sweeping through all directions. This kind of attack was very berserk, having a feeling of destroying heaven and earth. It was completely different from Dan Feng's identity as a woman. But at this moment, when it was executed, no one felt that it was abrupt. The intense collision was like the sound of thunder. Each strike made the void distort, and even countless cracks appeared. In this energy storm, even if a five-star king entered, his body and soul would also be destroyed. Lin Xian still only used half of his strength, and did not use his full strength. Chapter 1673. Firstly, he did not want to expose his full strength in front of everyone. Secondly, he still had to be wary of Dan Qinzi and Danzong. He always felt that something terrifying would happen in the Holy Land selection competition. Therefore, it was better for him to hide his strength. Moreover, Lin Xian discovered that he used half of his strength, which was enough to end this battle. Of course, the crowd did not know this at all. Everyone thought that Lin Xian unleashed his full strength, even exceeding his usual performance, to be able to contend with Dan Feng. No one knew what kind of expression they would have when they knew the truth. Boom! The sword Qi was like a rainbow, emitting a terrifying killing intent. It directly penetrated the sea of fire that filled the sky and charged toward the flame giant. Even that swift and fierce sword light left countless sword scars on the flame giant's body. Although Dan Feng was not swept by these sword chi, that overflowing sword Dao aura also made her feel pain all over. If this kind of power slashed on her body, she probably could not withstand it at all. Fire God Fist! Dan Feng cried out delicately, throwing out an incomparably terrifying fist in coordination with the flame giant. Fiery light surged to the sky, turning heaven and earth upside down. This fist was like a red volcano, directly descending from the sky, suppressing ruthlessly. Boom! That fist passed through countless sword chi and arrived in front of Lin Xian, about to land. But Lin Xian's expression was calm, still fearless. He waved his palm. Countless streaks of sword chi gushed out like seawater, incomparably soft, forming a scissor-light curtain, clear mirror still water. This fist seemed to have landed in the sea. The terrifying power was instantly dissolved by the soft sword chi. What an exquisite defense! The surrounding people were shocked, especially Ding Peng, Xiao Cheng, and the rest, who even exclaimed repeatedly, combining hardness and softness. This kid's sword art has reached an unbelievable level. Even the elders of the three major sects around were also extremely shocked. Too much hardness made it easy to break. Too much softness made the attack power appear insufficient. Only combining hardness and softness was the best state. However, very few people could reach this state. Even they, the elders, might not be able to reach it. However, a young man in his 20s actually reached this realm. One had to admit that it was really too shocking. The two people's great battle, the momentum astonishing. Lin Xian was like an incomparably sharp sword, full of vigor and vigor. Every ray of sword chi was incomparably valiant, as if they were going to tear the sky apart. As for Dan Feng, he was like a god of fire, becoming one with the fire beacon river and mountain painting, becoming a sea of fire, incomparably terrifying. As the two of them exchanged blows, each of their attacks tore through the sky. Finally, the Red Phoenix could not hold back anymore. She looked extremely anxious. She didn't expect the other party to be so terrifying. Therefore, she shouted and waved her hand. Immediately, a red mountain appeared in the fire beacon diagram. Light flashed and flames overflowed into the sky, pressing down on Lin Xian. Before the red volcano even arrived, the entire void had already collapsed. The terrifying power caused everyone's expression to change. Lin Xian snorted coldly and swept out with his sword. Instantly, a crescent-shaped sword chi shot forward like a cold moonlight. As the two collided, the sword chi and the sea of fire surged, and the terrifying black hole flickered in the sky. However, at that moment, the Red Phoenix unleashed all of her power and prepared to end the battle. The fire beacon diagram trembled rapidly, as if it was a world of fire, incomparably terrifying. That scene was as if the Red Phoenix was holding a real world in her hand and smashing it fiercely toward Lin Xian. Kill! Lin Xian also roared angrily. A ray of sword light was swung out. It was incomparably simple and filled with a sharp aura. It wasn't big, only a few meters long, but it contained supreme killing intent, as if it was a heavenly blade, extremely terrifying. Boom! In the next moment, this ray of sword light slashed fiercely on the sea of fire, and even tore the sea of fire apart, arriving at the fire beacon diagram. Boom, boom, boom. The sword chi was like a dragon, directly slashing those volcanoes in the fire beacon diagram. Damn it! Dan Feng's expression changed. She didn't expect the other party to be able to destroy her fire beacon diagram. This was her king's domain. The destruction of those volcanoes also caused her to suffer a certain degree of injury. Descent of the fire god. At the critical moment, the Red Phoenix used her ultimate skill. Instantly, a huge fist descended from the sky in the fire beacon diagram. It was as if it had crossed through time and space. This punch was earth-shattering. Waves of fire surged into the sky, as if the real fire god was reborn. The surrounding people exclaimed, as expected of one of the three great prodigies. Such combat strength was absolutely terrifying. Lin Xian's expression was calm, without any fear. He also quickly waved the long sword in his hand and stabbed out. The terrifying sword light illuminated the entire valley. At the same time, he finally used the dragon sword domain. The green dragon sword domain rapidly enlarged. Inside, sword chi rampaged. The power of 10,000 swords, 10,000 rays of sword chi quickly condensed, forming a huge light sword that slashed fiercely upward. Soon, it collided with the flaming fist. An earth-shattering collision sounded. Not only that, the boundless sea of fire seemed to be burning everything. On the other hand, the power of 10,000 swords was extremely terrifying. The sharp sword light could cut through those flames. The confrontation between the two was earth-shattering. However, at this moment, two figures appeared in Lin Xian's dragon sword domain again. One was a red sword god shadow, and the other was an orange sword god shadow. When the two of them appeared, they flew forward with terrifying killing intent. Light surrounded their bodies as if they were real sword gods, but they were formed by pure sword chi. Not good. Seeing the two light figures flying over, Dan Feng's expression changed drastically. She snorted coldly. The long whip in her hand was like a dragon as it danced quickly, forming a series of fierce attacks in front of her. With a wave of her palm, a sea of fire surrounded the surroundings. No one below the 6-star king level dared to pass the terrifying temperature. However, the two sword god shadows were condensed by Lin Xian's cultivation technique. They contained the aura of the great dragon sword soul and were extremely fierce. In an instant, the sea of fire was cut into two vacuum zones. Buzz. Two light swords appeared in their hands as they quickly attacked Dan Feng. In an instant, they arrived near Dan Feng. "Get lost!" Dan Feng shouted, and the aura on her body suddenly skyrocketed. Like two large flaming hands, she slapped toward the two. The two large flaming hands were extremely red and had mysterious Tao patterns on them. It was like two red mountains crashing forward. Puff, puff. However, these two sword lights were too sharp. Nothing could block them. The two large palms were cut open in an instant. In the next moment, Dan Feng was enveloped by the two sharp sword lights. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect this to be the result. At this moment, even Ding Peng, Xiao Cheng, Hong Yu, and those sect elders all looked at the sky. There, two figures held light swords pressing against Dan Feng's heart and throat. However, they didn't stab down. Dan Feng didn't resist anymore because the two sharp auras reminded her that as long as she moved slightly, the two long swords would pierce her body without hesitation. She knew that she had lost. Chapter 1674. However, she did not dare to accept this result. As one of the three prodigies, she was incomparably powerful. According to her expectations, her only opponents this time were Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng. Other than them, no one else was her match. However, she did not expect that she would be defeated by a newcomer. She felt like she was in a dream. The Red Phoenix lost. Everyone looked at the sky, unable to believe it. The Danzong disciples in particular felt their scalps go numb. This was because the Red Phoenix had always been a godlike existence in their hearts. She was an invincible existence. However, the belief in their hearts had now lost. Moreover, she had lost to a newcomer. Even Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng took a deep breath. Xiao Cheng was extremely shocked. The Red Phoenix's strength was similar to his, but she had lost to a newcomer. He could not help but be shocked. Therefore, he carefully sized up Lin Xian because this would be his strongest opponent in the third round. As for Ding Peng, his expression became even more gloomy. His opponent's strength had once again exceeded his expectations. Being able to defeat the Red Phoenix meant that he was very powerful. His opponent was very likely the mysterious Demon King. Humph, kid. You better not let me know that you know how to use destructive fist techniques. Otherwise, it will be your death. Ding Peng looked at Lin Xian with a murderous look in his eyes. In the first arena, Chu Yu's cherry lips were wide open. She was completely stunned. Is this still the Lin Xian I know? She was extremely shocked. Hong Yu's eyes flickered, and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. Not bad. You are indeed very powerful. You are qualified to be my opponent. In addition, the elders of the other sects were also shocked. Among them, the elders of the Purple Sun sect and the Lingshu sect asked, I wonder when such a powerful young man appeared in the Danzong. As for the elders of the Pill sect, they looked at each other. Dense worry surfaced in their eyes. Where did this kid come from? How can he be so powerful? I wonder if this will affect our plan. No, this matter must be reported to the clan. There must be no accidents. Don't worry, that brat is a core disciple. He has already eaten the blue wave pill and the purple pill. He definitely won't be able to escape from our clutches. Elder Danzong quickly communicated with each other, his eyes shining brightly. Lin Xian's victory could be said to have caused a great sensation. At this moment, nobody dared to underestimate him anymore. Instead, he was now listed as the fourth heaven's favorite. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression remained calm. This result was within his expectations. Furthermore, he had only used half of his strength in this battle. He wondered what kind of expression these people would have if they knew the truth. Next, the competition continued. Although it was intense, it was not as exciting as the battle between Dan Feng and Lin Xian. In the end, the top three of each arena were decided. In the third arena, the first place was naturally Lin Xian. He had not lost a single battle since the beginning. The second place was Dan Feng. The third was a disciple of the Purple Sun sect named Gaoan. In the second arena, the first place was Xiao Cheng and the second place was Hong Yu. It was not that Hong Yu had lost, but that the two of them did not have a chance to fight. The third place was by Ling of the Phantom Siblings. In the first arena, the first place was still Ding Peng. The second place was a disciple of the Spirit Void sect, Zhao Kong. The third place was Chu Yu. These 9 people would successfully advance to the third round of the competition. In other words, the person who would be able to enter the Yao Guang's sacred ground in the end would be among these 9 people. The surrounding disciples looked at the 9 people with envy in their eyes. Soon, the man in the red robe announced the third round. The third round would be held 3 days later in a nearby city. At that time, not only would the sect leaders and elders of the 3 major sects come, but the elders of the Yaoguang's sacred ground would also come to watch the battle. It could be said that it was an unprecedented grand occasion. The elders of the Yaoguang's sacred ground. Hearing this, not only were the surrounding disciples excited, but even the disciple who had won the qualification on the arena was also excited. The Yaoguang's sacred ground was one of the top forces in the eastern wilderness. The elders of the Yaoguang's sacred ground would definitely have a terrifying status. If such a person took a fancy to them, they would definitely be able to enter the Yaoguang's sacred ground. They might even be taken in as a disciple. After everything was announced, the crowd left to rest and prepare for the third round in 3 days. However, the 3 major sects did not hesitate. They immediately summoned their spirit boats and took the disciples to the nearby city. Great Marshall City, a nearby city. The city was huge and had a special place for the competition. It was suitable for people below the almighty level to fight. After a day, the three major sects arrived at Marshall City. Then they went to rest. On the second day, there was nothing to do. Lin Xian also cultivated silently in his room. However, on the third day, there was a change. Lin Xian received a notice from the sect. It was a jade slip that was sent to him by someone. However, when he used his soul power to sense the situation inside, his expression changed drastically. This was because the information recorded in the book was simply too shocking. He could not believe it. Danzong was going to fight in the third round. He had long felt that Danzong and Dan Chenzi were very strange, and that something big might happen. However, he did not expect them to be so bold as to fight in the third round. The target of the fight also shocked Lin Xian. It was the young man named Hongyu. According to the information in the jade slip, Danzong would order these people to attack in the third round and take Hongyu away. Lin Xian was shocked and confused at the same time. Was Danzong crazy? He was going to mobilize the entire Danzong for a 15 or 16-year-old boy. Was he not afraid of his sect being destroyed? Because this was too strange. One had to know that if Danzong really wanted Hongyu, he could have done it before the selection or during the first round. That way, he could have taken him away without anyone knowing. But why did he choose the third round? One had to know that during the third round, the sect masters and elders of the three major sects would all come. Not only that, but the Yaoguang Sacred Grounds elders would also be there. They would definitely be almighties. To fight in front of so many people, wasn't this an act of suicide? Therefore, Lin Xian could not understand at all. Moreover, the jade slip also said that if these core disciples dared to resist, they would end up in a very miserable state. Firstly, the sect would stop giving out blue wave pills. Secondly, the purple pill they had taken before leaving the sect was also a type of extremely poisonous pill. However, the poison was hidden in their bodies and had not yet acted up. Without the antidote from the sect, none of these core disciples would be able to survive after 5 days. Seeing this, Lin Xian's face darkened. Chapter 1675. The poison was hidden in their bodies and hadn't acted up yet. Without the antidote from the sect, none of these core disciples would be able to survive after 5 days. Lin Xian's face darkened. Presumably, all the core disciples had been threatened. They would probably all listen to Dan Chenzi's orders tomorrow. However, despite all of Dan Chenzi's calculations, he had overlooked one thing. Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not take the blue wave pill at all, nor did he take the purple pill. Therefore, he wouldn't be threatened. However, Lin Xian put away the jade slip and sighed. He finally knew why Niwa of Gojoseon had fallen. He must have discovered Dan Chenzi's secret. Lin Xian took out the 10,000 beast ding and asked in a low voice, "Zero, what do you need me to do?" "Destroy Dan Chenzi's plan. Dan Chenzi is the sect leader, and his strength has reached the almighty level. If he wants you to assassinate him, you won't succeed. Therefore, you only need to destroy his plan. Then I'll become your weapon." "All right." Lin Xian nodded. The 10,000 beast ding was a mid-earth tier treasure, and its power was incomparable. Moreover, it was extremely effective when used to refine pills. Therefore, Lin Xian wouldn't give up on such a treasure. Moreover, after careful consideration, he realized that this was probably the only way to go. Apart from this, he could also escape or secretly inform the Yaoguang Sacred Land. If he escaped now, he would probably attract Danzong's endless pursuit. Dan Chenzi might even kill him himself. His current strength wasn't enough to fight against an almighty. Therefore, escaping was undoubtedly suicidal. Informing the Yaoguang Sacred Land now was even more out of the question. Although Danzong and Dan Chenzi had planned a rebellion, it hadn't happened yet. He was just a small core disciple, and his words carried little weight. No one would believe him. Moreover, the other disciples of Danzong were threatened by the blue wave pill and the purple poison. No one would speak up for him. Therefore, when the time came, Danzong and Dan Chenzi's disciples would very likely bite him back. As for him, it was very likely that he would be slapped to death by the wavering light Holy Land. Therefore, this path would not work either. In that case, there was only one option left, which was to ruin Dan Chenzi's plan. If Dan Chenzi wanted to capture Hongyu, then all he had to do was help Hongyu escape. After thinking this through, Lin Xian took a deep breath and felt a heavy pressure. He did not expect that he would be swept into such a whirlpool after coming to the eastern wilderness for only a year. Moreover, he believed that this incident would definitely shake the entire eastern wilderness. After summoning the Crimson Dragon, Lin Xian explained the situation to him and asked him to quickly arrange some formations to defend against the enemy. He, too, also floated out. When he learned of this matter, he was extremely shocked. However, he then said, "The Black Earth has run out of energy. Otherwise, when we enter the Black Earth, even an Almighty would not be able to open it." In the following day, Lin Xian began to carefully prepare. Although the entire Danzong had turned traitor, no one knew that he was not threatened. Therefore, when the time came, his sudden attack might produce some miraculous effect. The third day finally arrived. The entire martial city was bustling, because this was the day of the final battle. The 9 disciples would have their final battle, and the winner would enter the wavering light Holy Land. In the center of Martial City, there was a huge square surrounded by countless stone seats. In the north, there was a high platform with a palace on it. It was dazzling and magnificent. It was rumored that the elders of the wavering light Holy Land would arrive at the main platform. The first to arrive were, of course, the disciples of the 3 major sections. Those who were not qualified to participate in the third round were now sitting on the stone platforms as spectators. Lin Xian and the others also arrived and prepared there. The next to arrive were the sect masters and elders of the 3 major sections. Dan Chenzi was dressed in a robe and his white hair fluttered in the wind. He looked like an immortal. He was all smiles and had a kind face. Those who did not know would not have thought that Dan Chenzi had such a plan. Beside him was a group of elders. These people walked directly to the palace in front. The sect master of the Spirit Void sect was a middle-aged woman with a dignified appearance. She sat cross-legged on a huge crane, and beside her was an elder of the Spirit Void sect. The people of the Purple Sun sect were driving a purple spirit boat that tore through the void and sped over. The sect master of the Purple Sun sect was a mighty middle-aged man. He had a burly figure and an unparalleled domineering aura. It was as if his every move could devour the heavens and split the earth. The 3 sect masters led their respective elders to the palace in the north. The 3 of them sat on 3 sides, and the center seat was empty. Obviously, that seat was reserved for the elders of the wavering light Holy Land. At this moment, the surrounding martial artists were waiting anxiously. They wanted to see how mighty the elders of the wavering light Holy Land were. Not long after, the clouds rolled in the sky, and spiritual energy surged. Dozens of divine rainbows streaked across the sky. "They're here!" It was Unknown who cried out in alarm. Immediately, everyone raised their heads and looked at the sky. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and looked down. In the next moment, a terrifying roar came from afar. It was like a sudden clap of thunder that spread in all directions. Then light flashed and thousands of rays of light shone. The 9 flood dragons had an extraordinary aura. Chapter 1676. Soon, the 9 dragons pulled the chariot to the sky above the square. The powerful aura was like 9 primordial demonic mountains pressing down on everyone's hearts and making them tremble. The door of the chariot opened, and a figure walked out. It was a middle-aged man with a majestic gait. He had an extraordinary aura, and every move he made was filled with a supreme aura. Beside him were 4 young and beautiful women. Each of them was holding spiritual wine and spiritual fruits that emitted rich spiritual energy. Behind them were the martial art guards of the wavering light sacred land. The middle-aged man's figure flickered as he brought everyone to the palace below. With a majestic gait, "Greetings, esteemed cultivator Qing," At this moment, the 3 sect leaders and elders all bowed to the middle-aged man in front of them. The middle-aged man nodded slightly. Then he stretched out his hand, and a ball of powerful energy supported everyone. "No need to be so polite. Take a seat." After saying that, the middle-aged man strode forward and sat in the most central position with a majestic gait. The 4 young and beautiful maidservants still stood beside him, holding various spiritual fruits and spiritual wine for him to taste at any time. There were also some martial art guards of the wavering light sacred land around them, but they all stood behind him. Seeing that esteemed cultivator Qing, he sat down. Dan Chenzi and the other sect leaders also sat down slowly. At this moment, the red-robed middle-aged man also came over and said respectfully, "Elder Qing, do you want to start the competition?" "Yes, esteemed cultivator Qing," he nodded slightly. After receiving the order, the red-robed man walked forward and said loudly, "Now, I announce that the 3rd round of the Sacred Land selection begins." With that, the ground in front of the square rumbled, forming a huge arena. The red-robed man's body swayed, and he appeared below. It seemed that this time he would be the judge. Seeing the scene, everyone became excited. Finally, they could see the final round. However, they did not know who would enter the wavering light sacred land in the end. Not only the surrounding disciples, but Dan Feng and the others were also excited. This was the critical moment that would determine their fate. Soon, 9 names appeared in the sky, and they kept flashing. Not long after, 2 names appeared. Everyone looked over with rapt attention and exclaimed in surprise. Dan Feng against Bai Ling. Dan Feng was one of the 3 geniuses. Although she had once lost to Lin Xian, no one doubted her strength. Bai Ling, on the other hand, was the younger sister of the Huan Ling siblings. Her divine ability was incomparably terrifying. In this battle, could Bai Ling rely on her divine ability to counterattack? Everyone was looking forward to it. Dan Feng, on the other hand, harumphed coldly. With a cold face, he quickly walked onto the battle ring. Bai Ling's figure flickered, and she went up as well. These 2 people were powerful, and they were both beautiful women. Naturally, they attracted everyone's attention. With a command, the competition began. Dan Feng snorted coldly and directly used the fire beacon map. The terrifying picture scroll enveloped the entire space. Everyone exclaimed. Even Bai Ling's expression changed. She didn't expect her opponent to use his ultimate move right from the start. How would she know that after the competition last time? Dan Feng would not show mercy to anyone now. Therefore, he immediately unleashed his king's domain. The painting seemed to be a real world, and it carried a terrifying aura that suppressed the surroundings. Although Bai Ling had the ability to shift between reality and illusion, there was nothing she could do in this realm. He could only retreat. At this moment, as one of the 3 great prodigies, Dan Feng's strength was finally revealed. Her powerful strength made it impossible for Bai Ling to attack at all. Therefore, after 50 moves, Bai Ling was defeated. Damn it! Bai Ling gritted her teeth, unwilling to step down. She also knew the gap between her and her opponent, so she could only step down. After the battle, everyone was discussing. In the palace, the elders of the 3 great sects were also quickly communicating. Dan Feng's strength is not bad. I'm afraid she's about to become a 6-star king. Indeed, the fire beacon map is extremely terrifying. there are few opponents of the same level. Humph, so what? Didn't she lose to a newcomer? An elder of the Purple Sun sect snorted coldly. Bai Ling was a disciple of the Purple Sun sect. Now that she was defeated, they were naturally unhappy. So what if she lost? That Lin Xian is also a member of the Danzong. Don't forget about that. An elder of the Danzong retorted without holding back. However, Qinghe, a steamed cultivator, narrowed his eyes and tapped the void with his finger. From beginning to end, he didn't say anything. On the other side, Dan Chinzi's expression was calm. His eyes flickered, as if he was waiting for something. Next, the competition continued. The second to go up was Xiao Cheng and Zhao Kong. The two of them weren't on the same level, so after 50 moves, Zhao Kong was defeated. Everyone cried out in surprise once again, and the atmosphere in the surroundings gradually became livelier. The red-robed man nodded slightly as the referee. Then he waved his sleeve, and the remaining names flashed again. Ding Peng against Hong Yu. When this news came out, everyone went crazy and let out a torrent of cheers. This was definitely going to be an earth-shattering battle. One of them was the strongest among the three geniuses, while the other was a dark horse among the newcomers with a pair of strange eye techniques. Who was stronger? Everyone was looking forward to it. At this moment, even Qinghe, a steamed cultivator, stopped tapping his finger and opened his eyes, looking down. This was because he had already received the news before coming. It was said that two incredible newcomers had appeared in this competition. One of them was Hong Yu, who had a mysterious eye technique. On the other side, the corners of Dan Chinzi's mouth curled up slightly, and a deep light appeared in his eyes. They finally appeared. Below, Ding Peng and Hong Yu also stood up. The two of them faced each other from a distance, and their gazes collided in the air like sharp swords. Countless sparks flew from the collision. In the next moment, the two of them swayed and appeared in the arena together. The competition begins with the order. The red-robed man retreated to the side. Humph, I won't go easy. Ding Peng was the same as Dan Feng. He displayed a powerful ultimate technique right from the start. This was because he had also lost once. Although no one knew, he wouldn't allow such a thing to happen again. Even if the other party was just a newcomer, he had to go all out to deal with him. With a clang, he pulled out the purple long saber at his waist and slashed out. The sharp saber light enveloped the front. The void was torn apart, and the purple saber light was like a purple rainbow that quickly slashed out. So strong! The surrounding cultivators exclaimed, "What's wrong with these people? They use such a powerful ultimate technique right from the start." Yeah, Dan Feng is like this, and so is Ding Peng. It seems that these people are going all out in order to enter the sacred land. Everyone was discussing animatedly. The two people on the stage had already exchanged more than 10 moves. Each collision was powerful and heavy, shattering the void. Humph, kid, I advise you to hurry up and use your eye technique. Otherwise, you won't have any chance. Ding Peng shouted coldly. Chapter 1677. His body was surrounded by purple saber light. His entire being was extremely sharp, like a peerless, demonic saber. He was a saber wielder, like a swordsman. He specialized in attacking and killing. Therefore, his will was also extremely firm. He was not afraid of any illusions. Opposite him, Hong Yu said coldly, "When it's time to appear, you will naturally see it." A faint golden light bloomed in his eyes. There were even mysterious Tao inscriptions in the light. This strange scene shocked everyone. At this moment, even the Qinghe esteemed cultivator could not remain calm. He sat up straight. His eyes were like lightning as he stared down. "Elder, what kind of eye technique is this? It's so strange. How can it trigger Tao inscriptions?" The other warriors in the wavering light sacred land were also very confused. Even the people from the three major sects were puzzled. The Qinghe esteemed cultivator did not speak. It was as if he did not hear such questions. His eyes were like a bright rainbow as he stared at the figure below. The burly middle-aged man from the Purple Sun sect frowned. It seems like it's some kind of ancient eye technique that has been lost. Perhaps it's some kind of powerful bloodline power. For a moment, many people looked at the beautiful woman, the sect master of the Spirit Void sect. The beautiful woman also smiled bitterly. I'm not too sure either, but according to my guess, it should be related to some kind of ancient bloodline. Ancient bloodline. There are some with golden light, but I'm not sure which one it is. Everyone was talking about it. Dan Chenzi's eyes also flashed. It was extremely deep. The corners of his mouth revealed a sharp smile. Around him, the eyes of the Danzong elders were also flashing. It seemed that they were ready to attack at any time. The battle below was very intense. Ding Peng used the divine saber realm to envelop the entire space. Rays of saber light cut through the void like rainbows. The purple saber in Ding Peng's hand swept in all directions. The terrifying saber light bloomed with shocking light. It pierced through the void and slashed forward. The entire void was trembling. Hong Yu's body flickered. His eyes bloomed with golden light. Within the golden light, wisps of mysterious Tao inscriptions appeared. Strange eye technique, everyone exclaimed. Ding Peng also frowned. Then he closed his eyes. Humph, what's so scary about speed? As long as I don't look at your eyes, I won't fall for your illusion. Ding Peng snorted coldly and launched his fiercest attack. What? Close my eyes? That works too. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect there to be such a method to avoid illusions. Damn it, did he really succeed? Huan Ling and Huan Ling gnashed their teeth, especially Mu Feng, whose expression was even more unsightly. No, that brat's eye technique is very strange. It's not something that can be blocked just by closing one's eyes. Last time, he had the protection of the copper lamp, but he was still hit. Thus, he was extremely afraid of those golden eyes. Hong Yu sneered. Close my eyes? How much battle strength can he still exert? If you have the ability, then shut off your soul force as well. He was indeed sneering. When martial artists reached their level of cultivation, they didn't just rely on their eyes. They also used their soul force. Furthermore, his eye technique didn't target the eyes. Instead, it targeted his opponent's soul power. As long as the other party's soul power was still active, they would be hit. As expected, in the next moment, Ding Peng's body trembled as a look of horror appeared on his face. What? Could it be that he was hit? Seeing this scene, everyone exclaimed. However, in the next moment, Ding Peng suddenly opened his eyes and roared. A purple saber light quickly slashed out from between his eyebrows. This purple saber light was invisible and very sharp. It collided with the faint golden light, producing a low sound. Immediately, Hong Yu snorted coldly, while Ding Peng kept retreating, his face extremely pale. He kept panting, as if he had been seriously injured. Hong Yu also snorted coldly. As expected of a swordsman, his will was indeed firm. To be honest, he was indeed very surprised. This was the first person who could withstand his eye technique. Of course, there were two reasons. First, the other party was a swordsman. His willpower could be said to be very strong among martial artists of the same level. The second reason was that he didn't use his full strength at all. Otherwise, the other party wouldn't be able to escape at all. You're very good. You deserve my full strength. Hong Yu said coldly. What? He didn't use his full strength. How could he use his full strength? Hearing this, everyone was extremely shocked. Just an eye technique made Ding Peng's face pale and his body tremble. And this was the case when he didn't use his full strength. Just how strong was this Hong Yu? Everyone's scalps went numb in disbelief. Lin Xian was also extremely surprised. He realized that the eye technique was extremely powerful. At this moment, He too transmitted his voice. His eye technique is too strange. It reminds me of a legendary bloodline. If that's true, it's too terrifying. What bloodline? Lin Xian was just about to ask, but at this moment, the battle situation on the arena suddenly changed. Ding Peng suddenly shouted, and a light burst out from his body. The surrounding divine saber domain trembled rapidly. Then, a purple giant shadow appeared, holding a sky-splitting saber in its hand and slashing down fiercely. Boom! Airwaves rolled, and the void was cut open in an instant. The terrifying saber light lit up the entire sky. No one could say for sure how powerful this saber was. Everyone only knew that their hearts were beating wildly, and the entire sky was trembling. The sharp saber light directly shrouded Hongyu. Hongyu's pupils constricted. He didn't expect the other party to be able to launch such a powerful counterattack after being hit by his illusion. This saber could even threaten a 6-star king. Hongyu snorted coldly, and his expression was extremely solemn. Golden light quickly bloomed in his eyes, and mysterious Tao patterns fluctuated unsteadily. His body swayed, and he quickly dodged. At this moment, illusions were no longer useful. He had to dodge the attack first. Everyone clenched their fists and paid close attention. In the palace, Dan Chenzi also frowned. This saber was definitely Ding Peng's most powerful attack. He wondered if Hongyu could block it. Thinking of this, he couldn't hold back anymore. Therefore, he sent a voice transmission to the surrounding elders and gave them a look. In the next moment, the elders nodded, and then secretly formed a strange seal with their palms. Spiritual power also surged in Dan Chenzi's body and instantly erupted. Buzz. He turned into an afterimage and instantly charged toward a steamed cultivator Qing. At the same time, the surrounding elders' expressions became ferocious, and their auras suddenly erupted. They all took out strange weapons and quickly attacked their surroundings. Not only them, but at this moment, all of Danzong's disciples received the order and quickly moved. Even mysterious people appeared in the surroundings. Chapter 1678. They were not the only ones. At that moment, all the disciples of Danzong received the order and moved quickly. Some mysterious people even appeared around them. Boom! The shocking attack shook the earth and the mountains. The entire space was shaking. However, everyone was completely dumbfounded. They did not even have time to see if Hongyu had dodged the attack. That was because an even more terrifying aura came from the palace in the north. Boom, boom, boom. The attack exploded in an instant. Waves of powerful auras swept in all directions like peerless beasts. The entire palace, including the high platform, exploded into pieces in an instant. What's going on? What happened? Everyone was dumbfounded. Many people were even sent flying by the aftermath of the energy. To be honest, they were really confused. That was because they did not know why such a terrifying energy explosion would occur in the palace. Did someone attack? They did not dare to think further. After all, the person sitting there was an elder of the wavering light sacred land. Who would dare to attack there? Ding Peng and Hongyu were also confused. Ding Peng had used all his strength and slashed out with a shocking attack, hoping that he would be defeated. However, he did not expect Hongyu to dodge it. Hongyu's face was also slightly pale. It was obvious that it was very difficult for him to dodge that attack. However, what made the two of them even more confused was that they felt a shocking wave of energy coming from afar. That energy made them shudder with fear. Someone is attacking. For a moment, the two of them stopped fighting and stopped fighting. Instead, they looked in that direction. Lin Xian's heart was also beating wildly. He knew that Dan Chenzi had made a move. However, in the next moment, he looked forward and his expression changed drastically. The reason for that was because the majestic-looking, middle-aged man in front, the Qinghe ancestor, was actually bound by a large green net. However, the person controlling the green net was actually Dan Qinzi. The green net was crystal clear, as if it was emerald green, and emitted a mysterious energy. It firmly trapped Qinghe the pilgrim. Not only that, but Dan Qinzi also held a dagger in his hand and pressed it against Qinghe the pilgrim's neck. Qinghe the pilgrim had been subdued. This was simply too unbelievable. Not to mention Lin Xian. Even the sect leaders of the Empty Spirit sect and the Purple Sun sect widened their eyes in disbelief. The warriors from the Wavering Light, Holy Land were even more shocked. They did not expect that someone would actually dare to attack them. Furthermore, he had actually attacked the Qinghe Great Master. The Qinghe esteemed master was definitely an important figure. Furthermore, he was an elder of the Wavering Light, Holy Land. His strength was terrifying, and his status was even more precious. Perhaps no one in the entire eastern wilderness would dare to attack him. But now, Dan Qinzi dared to attack the Qinghe Great Master. Was he insane? Was he not afraid that Danzong would be exterminated? How dare you? You're courting death. Release the elder. Dan Qinzi, are you tired of living? Quickly release Elder Qinghe. Angry roars could be heard. Even the sect leaders of the Empty Spirit sect and the Purple Sun sect were shocked. They hadn't expected Dan Qinzi to betray them. Master Qing He's expression was also ugly. He was a mighty figure and an elder of the Wavering Light's sacred ground. How could he be kidnapped at this moment? He couldn't believe it. Humph! With a cold snort, the spiritual power in his body surged out, but it instantly disappeared without a trace. Damn it, what's going on? The Qinghe Great Master's face was gloomy. He looked at the Green Net King with murderous intent in his eyes. Immortal Binding Net. You actually have such a treasure. What? Immortal Binding Net? The surrounding people were shocked. They had heard of the Immortal Binding Net. It was an extremely mysterious supreme treasure. Legend had it that even deities could be trapped. They did not expect Dan Qinzi to have such a treasure. No, this isn't the real Immortal Binding Net. The Qinghe Great Master frowned again. This is just a replica. Even if it's a replica, it's enough to subdue you. Dan Qinzi said coldly. The corners of his mouth curled up, and the dagger in his hand shone with a cold light. The Qinghe Great Master was relieved when he heard that it was a replica. He snorted coldly. Dan Qinzi, how dare you kidnap me? Do you really want to die? Hurry up and release me, and I can let bygones be bygones. Otherwise you and the entire Danzong will disappear from this world. Ha ha, you're still as arrogant as ever, senior brother. What? At this moment, the surrounding people were all stunned. Senior brother? Dan Qinzi was calling the Qinghe Great Master his senior brother? How was that possible? The sect master of the Spirit Void sect was shocked. The burly man of the Purple Sun sect was also shocked. They could not figure out what was going on at all. The surrounding cultivators of the Wavering Light's sacred land were all stunned. Senior brother? What was going on? The Qinghe Great Master's pupils constricted when he heard that. Even his body began to tremble slightly. You're not Dan Qinzi? Ha ha! You're really stupid. Isn't it too late to realize that I'm not Dan Qinzi? Damn it, it's you. You traitor. How dare you come back? The Qinghe Great Master seemed to have recognized the other party and was immediately furious. My good senior brother, don't be so agitated. There will be plenty of time to settle the score with you. Right now, I have other things to do. Dan Qinzi placed the dagger on the Qinghe Great Master's neck while waving his other hand gently. Immediately, the surrounding elders began to move. Below, the disciples of the Pill sect also began to move. They all flew in the same direction. Hongyu, at that moment, countless people rushed towards Hongyu, wanting to take him away. Damn it, your target is indeed him. The Qinghe Great Master's expression changed drastically when he saw that. Could it really be that bloodline? He had long suspected that. The golden eyes were very similar to a legendary bloodline. However, he had never been sure. Now that he saw Dan Chenzi's actions, he was 100% sure that it was that bloodline. Otherwise, Dan Chenzi would not have snatched it. Therefore, in the next moment, he roared angrily, "Everyone listen up! Kill Dan Chenzi and everyone in Danzong!" Yes, hearing that, the Purple Sun sect, the Spirit Void sect, and the cultivators of the Wavering Light sacred land quickly counterattacked. They did not know what had happened and why the Danzong Great Master had betrayed them. But now, the Qinghe Great Master's words were an order. They had to obey. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of energy exploded and swept in all directions. The entire city fell into chaos. Among them, the Spirit Void sect's leader and the burly man from the Purple Sun sect stared at Dan Chenzi, while the others dealt with the other elders. However, the situation was still unfolding. A few disciples of the Spirit Void sect suddenly rebelled and attacked the people of their own sect. At the same time, the same thing happened in the Purple Sun sect. Damn it, how could this be? Chapter 1679. The two sect leaders paled. They did not expect their own disciples to join the rebellion. This was simply too shocking. Damn you, Dan Chenzi, what did you do? Why did they listen to you? The leaders of the Spirit Void sect and the Purple Sun sect gritted their teeth and looked at Dan Chenzi. They wanted to kill him. Why did they listen to me? Dan Chenzi snorted. I've been planning this for hundreds of years. However, I never had the chance to. It was only today that the plan could be carried out. As he spoke, the disciples of the Yaowang sacred land suddenly attacked and killed their fellow disciples. Seeing this, the others paled even more. Even the people of the Yaowang sacred land had betrayed Dan Chenzi. It was too unbelievable. If news of this spread, it would definitely shock the entire eastern wilderness. Instantly, other than Dan Chenzi's side, the other places were in chaos. The fiercest battle was near Hongyu. To be honest, Hongyu was really shocked. He didn't expect that these people were actually here for him. He did not know why these people wanted to kill him, but he would not sit still. With a roar, Hongyu's body emitted a dazzling light. The energy was like a volcanic eruption, sweeping across the area. It was like a pair of invisible hands that attacked quickly. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, many of the weaker Danzong disciples were sent flying by the shockwave. However, there were still several beams of light that tore through the shockwave and attacked him quickly. On the other side, Ding Peng was also stunned. He was just participating in the competition, but in the blink of an eye, things had happened beyond his expectations. He did not know what was going on. He only knew what to do when he heard Qinghe's order. Danzong had betrayed the Yaowang sacred land. They even wanted to take the young man in front of him. It was too shocking. After all, Danzong was a subsidiary sect of the Yaowang sacred land. It was a subordinate force. All along, Danzong had never dared to say no to the Yaowang sacred land. However, Danzong had betrayed them. Who gave them the guts? The two sects were not on the same level. However, at this moment, a terrifying energy interrupted his thoughts. A large red palm, carrying a monstrous flame, fiercely clawed down from below. The terrifying palm brought with it a gust of wind and a sea of fire that enveloped the area below. From the looks of it, they wanted to capture Hongyu. Humph! Hongyu snorted coldly and punched out as well. His fist carried golden lightning and crashed into the sky like a meteor. Boom! The two collided, shaking heaven and earth. Terrifying radiance illuminated the entire space. However, Dingpeng wasn't idle either. He held the purple saber in his hand and slashed out. Suddenly, a huge crack appeared in the sky. The purple blade light was incomparably dazzling. It slashed the flaming hand and split it apart. The two of them attacked together and slashed apart the red hand. However, at this time, the figure of the red phoenix appeared in the sky. Dan Feng, are you also going to betray us? Dingpeng roared furiously. In Jianghu, you can't help yourself. I have my own difficulties, Dan Feng said coldly. She had no intention of stopping. Light flashed behind her, and the fire beacon map of mountains and rivers rushed out quickly. She did have her own difficulties. Not only her, but the entire Danzong was under Dan Qinzi's control. If they didn't do as they were told, they would probably die soon. Besides Danzong, no one else knew about this. Whoosh! The void trembled. A fiery red scroll quickly unfolded. On it, a sea of fire spread, and a heat wave surged into the sky. Buzz! Dingpeng also used the divine saber realm to fight against it. However, Dan Feng wasn't the only one who attacked. The other personal disciples and core disciples also rushed over quickly. Although these people weren't as strong as the three supreme prodigies, they were all 5-star kings. Now that they attacked together, the momentum was extremely terrifying. Humph! Hongyu snorted coldly. Golden light bloomed in his eyes. Those doubt patterns quickly rotated and formed a mysterious pattern. Buzz! Buzz! In the next moment, a few personal disciples around him immediately grabbed their heads and screamed in pain. They fell from the sky. It was obvious that they were attacked by an illusion. However, those people seemed to have gone crazy and rushed over quickly. No matter how strong Hongyu was, it was impossible for him to continuously use illusions. This consumed a lot of his soul power. After all, those people were 5-star kings. Therefore, his illusions also paused for a while. However, at this moment, a few figures rushed to his side. These people were Chao Yun and a few other personal disciples. Their faces were ferocious as they quickly used their realms to envelop the area in front of them. Hongyu fought back with all his might. Shocking sounds of collisions constantly shook the sky. At this moment, another long howl was heard. Xiao Cheng's figure was like lightning as he quickly rushed over to support. More and more people gathered around Hongyu. Shocking explosions caused the ground to sink. Countless cracks also appeared in the sky. It was extremely terrifying. However, 2 of the 3 supreme prodigies and a dark horse joined forces. The 3 of them were extremely powerful. Even though Dan Feng and the others had the advantage in numbers, they couldn't take them down in a short time. However, these disciples weren't the only ones who betrayed them. There were also Danzong's elders. At this moment, an elder escaped the joint attack of 2 other sects and came nearby. A huge hand covered the sky and grabbed down fiercely. The sky was torn apart in an instant. It couldn't withstand this power at all. This palm enveloped Hongyu, Dingpeng, and Xiao Cheng. What? A 6-star king has attacked. Hongyu, Dingpeng, and the others had ugly expressions. However, Dan Feng's side was ecstatic. Attack with all your might. Don't hold back anymore. Dingpeng shouted angrily. Then, a purple figure appeared in his king's realm. It was like a saber god, holding a peerless demonic saber in his hand. Dingpeng slashed out. Xiao Cheng's expression was grave. His king's realm quickly condensed into a huge folding fan that he grabbed in his hand. Then he fanned forward fiercely. Hongyu's eyes shone brightly. Mysterious Tao inscriptions quickly appeared. The sky full of golden light scattered forward. This wasn't just an illusion. His eyes were his king's realm. The 3 supreme prodigies attacked the huge palm that covered the sky. Boom! Tens of thousands of rays of light appeared. The sky shook. This attack was extremely terrifying. The surrounding martial artists were all blasted away by this wave of energy. Hong Yu, Ding Peng, and Xiao Cheng also kept retreating. Their faces were pale. However, the three of them joined forces and blocked this shocking attack. As expected of a supreme prodigy, his strength is indeed powerful. However, the suppression of cultivation level is far more terrifying than you can imagine. Therefore, none of you can escape today. Chapter 1680. As expected of a peerless prodigy, you're indeed powerful. However, the suppression of cultivation level is far more terrifying than you can imagine. So, none of you can escape today. An old figure appeared in the sky. His cold voice was filled with endless killing intent. He was an elder from Danzong. He was a 6-star king. The fact that the 3 people below were able to block his attack really surprised him. Only prodigies could do that. If it were any other 5-star king, they would have probably died 1,000 times over from this slap. However, he did not stop despite his surprise. Instead, he reached out his palm again and grabbed downward. This palm was even more terrifying than the previous one. It was as if the hand of God had crossed time and space. Oh no! At this moment, Hong Yu and the other 2 were shocked. Not only them, but the surrounding martial artists from the Wavering Light Sacred Land, Spirit Void Sect, and Purple Sun Sect were also shocked. This palm was too terrifying. Hong Yu and the other 2 would not be able to block it at all. Hong Yu and the other 2 did not run away because they had no way out. They could only fight to the death. Boom, boom, boom. Ding Peng, Xiao Cheng, and Hong Yu kept retreating. Their attacks were also shattered in an instant. The sky-covering palm was still rushing toward them. Hong Yu roared crazily. The golden light in his eyes became brighter and brighter. The Tao inscriptions around him also spun rapidly. Accompanied by the golden light, they formed a second tadpole-like pattern. Hong Yu's aura also skyrocketed in an instant. His body shone with golden light. Then he punched out. A large amount of golden light sprinkled down as if thousands of stars were shining. The golden fist collided with the sky-covering palm. The golden fist was extremely violent. It went against the flow and blocked the sky-covering palm. This scene caused everyone to be extremely shocked. They did not expect Hong Yu's strength to increase again. He blocked it. Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng were also shocked. They could not block such an attack. However, the 15-year-old youth in front of them blocked it. This was beyond their expectations. As expected of that bloodline. It's impressive. Even Dan Chenzi, who was watching from afar, smirked. His eyes were filled with greed. Humph, you won't succeed. However, Master Qing, he snorted coldly. To be honest, Hong Yu's strength had also exceeded his expectations. It seemed like it was definitely that kind of legendary bloodline. I never thought that those eyes would appear again. I wonder what kind of storm will arise in the Eastern Wasteland. The expression of the alchemy sect's elder also changed. He did not expect that the other party's strength would suddenly soar and block his palm. Brat, I have to say, you have indeed exceeded my expectations. To have such combat strength at such a young age, it is indeed heaven-defying. If you continue to grow, you will at least reach the level of a powerful being in the future. You might even be able to break through to an even higher realm. Unfortunately, you have no future. I must capture you today. After saying that, Elder Danzong revealed a ferocious expression. Then he stretched out his other hand, which covered the sky and the sun. Once again, he grabbed downward. Both palms struck out at the same time, incomparably terrifying. What? Seeing the scene, everyone felt their scalps go numb. Hong Yu's pupils constricted. Although his strength had increased greatly, he had not reached the level of a six-star king. Therefore, to be able to block a six-star king's palm was already his full strength. Unless his eyes made another breakthrough, he would probably be in danger. However, he knew that although his golden eyes were terrifying, it would be extremely difficult for him to make a breakthrough. Therefore, facing the palm that covered the sky again, he could only choose to retreat. However, could he really escape? This palm was too terrifying. It had completely locked down the entire space. On the other side, Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng roared angrily and attacked again with their king domains. Bang! There was an intense collision. Their domains collided with the palm that covered the sky, creating countless storms. However, the palm was too terrifying. It directly slapped the two of them away. Puff! The two of them spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were pale, and their bodies were on the verge of collapsing. It's useless. You can't block it at all. Elder Danzong sneered and quickly attacked. Not good. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people's expressions changed. Among them, the elders of the Wavering Light Sacred Ground, the Spirit Void sect, and the Purple Sun sect wanted to rush over to help. However, they were held back by the martial artists who had betrayed them. This was because the disciples of the Spirit Void sect and the Purple Sun sect were not the only ones who had betrayed them. There were also some elders who had defected as well. This greatly reduced the combat power of the two sections. On the other hand, the Danzong side was getting stronger and stronger. The palm that covered the sky quickly descended and was about to capture Hong Yu and the other two. However, at this moment, a vast energy fluctuation came from the void. Immediately after, a fist shadow streaked across the void like a meteor and quickly attacked. Boom! This fist was extremely violent and seemed to be able to destroy the world. The black fist collided with the palm that covered the sky, creating a violent collision. In the next moment, the palm was quickly sent flying. What? It was sent flying! The surrounding people were constantly paying attention to Hong Yu's battle. At this moment, when they saw that the palm that covered the sky was sent flying, everyone looked as if they had seen a ghost. They could not believe it. Even Hong Yu and the other two were extremely shocked. They did not expect that at the most critical moment there would be an expert who would intervene. Who is it? Could it be an elder? They guessed that the person who could fight against Elder Danzong must be an elder from the Spirit Void sect or the Purple Sun sect. Otherwise, it would be a martial artist from the Wavering Light Sacred Land. Therefore, at this moment, countless eyes quickly scanned the void, looking for the person who had intervened. Even Elder Danzong's face was gloomy. He did not expect his attack to be sent flying with a single punch. However, in the next moment, he was stunned. Not only him, but everyone was stunned. This was because they realized that it was not what they had imagined. The person who had intervened was not an elder from the Spirit Void sect or the Purple Sun sect, nor was it an expert from the Wavering Light Sacred Land. It was a man in black. He was dressed in a black robe and was surrounded by a black aura. It was impossible to see his true form. He was wearing a green dragon mask on his face, which was extremely strange. Those who did not know better would think that he was one of Dan Chenzi's men. However, the other party had attacked Elder Danzong. It was obvious that he was not one of Dan Chenzi's men. Damn it! Who are you? Elder Danzong's voice was ferocious. How dare you interfere with our Danzong's affairs? I think you have a death wish. Meanwhile, Ding Peng, Xiao Cheng, and the surrounding disciples all screamed. What? It's you? That mysterious demon king. Cries of surprise could be heard. They were too shocked. They did not expect that the one who had intervened was the legendary demon king. What demon king? Chapter 1681. Elder Danzong was confused. He did not know what had happened in the first round, but soon he found out. There was a mysterious demon king in the first round. He was wearing a black robe and a green dragon mask. He attacked the disciples of the three sects mercilessly and robbed many subdivine crystals. They had thought that a mysterious expert had snuck in to rob them. They did not expect him to appear again and save Hongyu's life. Ding Peng looked at the mysterious figure with a complicated expression. He had sworn that if he met him again, he would fight him at all costs. But now he was hesitating. Firstly, it was not the right time. It was a riot, and he had to suppress it. Secondly, he had not only saved Hongyu's life, but he had also saved his life. He was Ding Peng's savior. Therefore, he had mixed feelings about this. However, the people around him were even more shocked. The mysterious man was not only mysterious, but he was also terrifyingly powerful. He had sent Elder Danzong's giant hand, flying with one punch. Did that mean that he was a six-star king? Thinking of this, they sucked in a breath of cold air. The mysterious demon king was Lin Xian. He had planned to destroy Dan Chenzi's plan. How could he not make a move? However, he did not want to be recognized, so he had to transform into a demon king again and put on the green dragon mask. Moreover, he was using the black dragon fist, so no one recognized him. Lin Xian's appearance had indeed caused a stir among the crowd. For a moment, all eyes were on him. "Who are you?" Hongyu asked in a low voice. To be honest, he had heard about this demon king, but he did not expect him to help him now. "It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that you leave now. They want to catch you." "Yes, junior brother Hong, you should leave," Xiao Cheng also said quickly. Hongyu was a disciple of the Lingshu sect, and he had received orders from the Yaoguang sacred land. He did not want Hongyu to be caught by the Danzong. "All right, thank you very much." Hongyu nodded. Then his body swayed, and he quickly flew into the distance. "You want to leave? Stay here." In the sky, Elder Danzong roared and attacked again. Boom, boom, boom. An incomparably vast power enveloped the heavens and earth. Then a huge hand descended from the sky and pressed down rapidly, as if it wanted to slap Lin Xian into a bloody mist. For a moment, a gale swept through, and the sky darkened. Terrifying energy surged in the air. Humph! Apocalyptic black dragon fist. Lin Xian coldly snorted as he waved both of his fists. Terrifying fist shadows quickly blasted out. Above this fist, there was an incomparably powerful aura of destruction, as if it could destroy the world. In the next moment, the two collided again. Suddenly, the entire void shook violently, and countless cracks appeared rapidly. The earth caved in even more, and numerous abyssal cracks appeared. This attack was incomparably terrifying. Pung pung pung. The pill sect elder was sent flying back by this punch, and he kept retreating in the air. Every step he took cracked the void. At the same time, his eyes were filled with fear. That was because he didn't believe that his opponent would be able to force him back. "Damn it, who the hell are you?" Elder Danzong's expression was incomparably ferocious. However, Lin Xian didn't answer at all. What he wanted to do now was to escort Hongyu safely away. However, this place was too chaotic. Even without Elder Danzong's interference, there were still mysterious assassins coming from all directions wanting to capture Hongyu. Fortunately, Hongyu had Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng by his side, who could help block them for a while. However, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. That was because there were even more elder-level experts rushing over at a fast speed. On the other side, Elder Danzong attacked again. "Fire God's palm." Elder Danzong roared, and terrifying flames surged around him. Above his palms, two scarlet flames appeared. Accompanying it was a terrifying heat wave aura. It felt as if everything was burning. Faced with Lin Xian's strength, Elder Danzong was finally going to use his ultimate technique. Fire God's palm was one of Danzong's ultimate techniques. It had been used by Chao Yun and Dan Feng before. However, at this moment, in the hands of Elder Danzong, its power was even more powerful. As he attacked with both palms, the fiery red air turned into a cloud of mist and enveloped the area below. Suddenly, the surrounding space shook, and the terrifying power of the flames danced wildly in the air. This palm strike caused countless cracks to appear in the already chaotic void. Oh, no, this is Danzong's ultimate technique. I'm afraid that person is in danger. When the surrounding warriors saw this scene, their hearts were in their mouths. Although they didn't know who the mysterious person was at this moment, he was the only one who could stop Elder Danzong. If he was injured, Hongyu would be in danger. Faced with this terrifying palm, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He attacked with both fists, and a terrifying, destructive aura surrounded him. Thunderbolt Dragon. He threw out a punch, and suddenly the shadow of a black dragon appeared, accompanied by black lightning in the surroundings. The terrifying energy instantly pierced through the void and flew upwards. In the next moment, the terrifying energy exploded, and ripples spread out in all directions like waves. The entire giant city was affected. Large areas of buildings were destroyed. The sky collapsed, and the ground cracked open. The surrounding warriors were also forced back by this attack. The battle strength of a 6-star king was terrifying. It was far more powerful than the 3 great prodigies. When the energy storm disappeared, the crowd quickly looked over, and they were shocked. That was because Elder Danzong's hair was disheveled, and he looked miserable. Blood was flowing from his palms, and they were unusually red. What? Elder Danzong is injured. At this moment, countless people were shocked, and the Danzong warriors were even more terrified. That was an elder of Danzong, a 6-star king, extremely terrifying. Even the 3 great prodigies couldn't fight against him. But now, he was injured by a mysterious person? This was simply too shocking. Who is this person? At this moment, even Dan Chenzi's face was gloomy. The sudden appearance of this mysterious person had undoubtedly disrupted his plan. Otherwise, he would have captured Hongyu long ago. When the Qinghe ancestor saw this scene, he revealed a cold smile. Then he said to the 2 sect leaders beside him, "The 2 of you should go and help them. You don't have to worry about this." Yes, the sect masters of the Empty Spirit sect and the Purple Sun sect quickly moved and joined the battle. Their strength was extremely terrifying, and they were both at the almighty level. Therefore, they all joined the battle, causing the Danzong warriors to retreat. "Ha ha, Mo Tianqi, although your plan is good, I'm afraid it's going to fail again." Esteemed Master Qing, he sneered. "Fail again? My good senior brother. How is that possible? This time, I'm fully prepared." Mo Tianqi sneered. Then he let out a long howl and made strange sounds. Chapter 1682. Then, countless rainbows flew over from all directions in the sky. Each of them had an extremely powerful aura. Along with them was a monstrous aura of death that formed into dark clouds. "Do you really think that I only have Danzongs?" Mo Tianqi sneered. "Next, I'll show you a part of my strength." Even though Lin Xian's appearance had disrupted his plans, no one was able to ruin his plans. Soon, the dark clouds that appeared in the surroundings came close, and terrifying figures appeared inside. Those people were extremely strange, but without exception, they were surrounded by a thick aura of death. Beneath their feet, strange creatures were circling around. Some were a pile of skeletons that formed a strange white-boned bird, while some were rotten corpses that emitted a monstrous stench. These were all lifeless things, but they could move at this moment. Corpses. The Chasing Corpse sect. The surrounding warriors were shocked. They did not expect that the other party had attracted the chasing corpse sect. Among them, there were two figures with extremely powerful auras. Under their feet stood two skeletons with 10-meter-long white bone wings. Mighty figures. Sensing the aura of the two figures, the Lingshu sect master exclaimed. The Purple Sun sect master's expression was also extremely solemn. Originally, the addition of the two of them had improved the situation of the battle. However, they did not expect that the other party would have two more mighty figures. This made them feel very troubled. Moreover, in addition to the two mighty figures, there were more than a dozen powerhouses from the Chasing Corpse sect. They were afraid that this would make the battle worse. Kill. Mo Tianchi also laughed wildly and gave the order. Immediately, the two mighty figures from the Chasing Corpse sect and more than a dozen powerhouses around them charged into the battle. The situation changed again. The advantage that the Wavering Light's sacred land had gained was once again suppressed. The Lingshu sect master and the Purple Sun sect master could no longer attack others. The two of them fought with all their strength against the two mighty figures from the Chasing Corpse sect. As for the remaining powerhouses from the Chasing Corpse sect, three of them charged towards Hongyu, while the others joined the battle. Boom, boom, boom. Three gray auras quickly rushed towards Hongyu and the others. Hongyu, Ding Peng, and the others also quickly counterattacked. A series of fierce attacks exploded in the air. Lin Xian's body flashed and came near Hongyu. He then punched out with both his fists, sending all of the death aura flying away with his fists. Die, brat. One of them flipped his palm and summoned a tall black zombie, which quickly charged towards Lin Xian. The black zombie was like an impenetrable fortress, its entire body glowing with the light of the King of Death. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Lin Xian. Two ghostly claws grabbed at Lin Xian's heart and head. Lin Xian's figure flickered as he dodged the attack. At the same time, he punched back. Very good. Seeing this, Mo Tianchi, who was in the distance, smiled again. As for the Qinghe ancestor, his expression was gloomy, but in the next moment, his eyes suddenly burst with a terrifying light. At the same time, an extremely violent energy surged out of his body like a raging wave. Boom. In the next moment, the space he was in exploded, and a pitch-black hole appeared. Moreover, it quickly spread to the surroundings. This scene was so terrifying that both sides kept retreating, afraid that they would be affected by this energy. In fact, even the two mighty figures of the Chasing Corpse sect and the sect masters of the Lingshu sect and Purple Sun sect retreated to the side. Although they were all mighty figures, there were still differences in strength between the mighty figures. They were only 7-star kings, while the Qinghe ancestor was at least an 8-star king, or even stronger. Therefore, the two sides were not on the same level at all. The black hole grew bigger and bigger, and a long roar came from within it. Mo Tianchi, do you really think that a replica of the immortal trapping net can trap me? This voice was full of dignity and disdain. It was the voice of the Qinghe ancestor. Humph, I didn't expect your strength to have improved again. You can break through the restraints of the immortal trapping net. But so what? Even if we fight head-on, you are no match for me. This extremely cold voice belonged to Mo Tianchi. In the next moment, the black hole gradually disappeared, and two figures appeared in the void. One of them was majestic and extraordinary, and his entire body was surrounded by green light. It was the Qinghe ancestor. The other person had an old appearance, but that person quickly changed his appearance. The white-haired, sage-like figure disappeared in an instant. In his place was an incomparably evil young man. He was the junior brother of the Qinghe ancestor, Mo Tianchi. Over the past few hundred years, he had been impersonating Dan Qinzi and plotting big plans in Danzong. Without the restraint of the immortal trapping net, the Qinghe ancestor snorted coldly and punched out. Immediately, a terrifying light covered the entire sky. Everything within a radius of 100 miles collapsed, and the entire city was reduced to ashes in an instant. It was too terrifying. Even among the mighty figures, the Qinghe ancestor was probably an extremely powerful existence. Just this punch alone made everyone present feel a sense of despair. However, in the face of this terrifying punch, Mo Tianqi was not afraid at all. A cold smile appeared on his bewitching face. Then, an extremely terrifying aura surged from his body. A black scythe appeared in his hand, emitting a dense and terrifying aura. He waved the death scythe, and a crescent-shaped blade, light, quickly slashed out. The spiritual energy in the sky was instantly sucked dry. The huge death scythe slashed forward and collided with the terrifying fist. Immediately, the area within 1,000 miles was in an uproar. It was too terrifying. The energy exploded, forming a huge energy wave that spread out in all directions. Everywhere it passed, everything turned into ashes. At this moment, the surrounding warriors were all affected. They fled in all directions as if they had gone mad. At the same time, Mo Tianqi and the Qinghe ancestor continued to rise into the sky and engage in a great battle. A good chance. Let's go. Hong Yu seized the opportunity and flew into the distance. The scene was too chaotic now. Everyone was avoiding the aftermath of the energy wave, and no one cared about him. However, he was still a step too late. In the sky, Missouri Tianqi waved his hand, and the immortal trapping net directly turned into a huge energy light shield, completely enveloping the area within 1,000 miles. What followed after was a cold laugh. It's useless. No one below the mighty figure can open it. Moreover, even an ordinary mighty figure can't open it. So, you'd better stay here obediently. Damn it! Hong Yu roared crazily. Even his golden eyes emitted a terrifying light. Boom! The golden light blasted forward, but it was still unable to shake the energy shield formed by the immortal trapping net. The surrounding people also retreated to the edge. After the terrifying energy wave disappeared, everyone started fighting again. However, in the next moment, a cry of surprise came from the crowd. What? Damn it, it's actually you. Chapter 1683. In the next moment, a cry of surprise came from the crowd. What? Damn it, it's you? The alchemy sect's elder roared madly. His gaze was fixed on a figure. Hearing this voice, the surrounding crowd also looked over. Then, they were all stunned. They realized that the mysterious Demon King was someone they were very familiar with. Isn't he Lin Xian from Danzong? That's right. It's him. What's going on? Didn't he betray us? Cries of surprise came one after another. Clearly, everyone was shocked. Lin Xian smiled bitterly. The energy just now was too terrifying. It had directly destroyed his green dragon mask. Now, his real face was in front of everyone. Brat, how dare you ruin our plan? Are you really not afraid of death? Elder Danzong sneered. Don't forget that your life is in our hands. Lin Xian snorted coldly and said, Cut the crap. I won't let you get away with your evil plan. You're courting death. A mere 3-star king dares to boast like that. Elder Danzong sneered. I don't know what kind of pill you use to raise your cultivation, but I don't think it will last long. He did not expect that the person who intercepted him would be a Danzong disciple. This was really unexpected. One had to know that the Danzong disciples had all taken the blue wave pill and the purple poison. Without their antidote, no one could cure them. But now, someone dared to rebel against them. Did he not want to live anymore? However, Lin Xian snorted coldly and said, Cut the crap. Come and accept your death." He waved his hand and pulled out a black demonic sword from the void. Since his identity had been exposed, he had nothing to worry about. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to attack with all his might. "You think you can do that? You want to attack me? You're courting death." Elder Danzong was furious. A mere disciple dared to provoke him? This was intolerable. Therefore, in the next moment, his aura erupted as he attacked mercilessly. The fiery red palm was incomparably powerful as it descended from the sky. The entire sky was dyed red, and a terrifying energy surged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian coldly snorted and quickly waved the 9 Hell Devil sword in his hand. A shocking sword light that was incomparably sharp tore through the void and flew out rapidly. Pung! This sword strike was extremely terrifying. Soon, the two collided and exploded again. What? He blocked it again. This is impossible. Elder Danzong couldn't believe it. His opponent was only a 3-star king. How could he display such powerful battle prowess? He guessed that the other party must have taken some kind of pill to increase his cultivation. But after such a long time, the effects of the pill should be wearing off soon. But now, the other party was still not affected in the slightest. His strength was still as terrifying as ever. This made him very unhappy. With a cold snort, he took out a red iron hammer and held it in his hand. The red hammer was small and exquisite, and it was incomparably exquisite. Mysterious patterns were engraved on it. As soon as it appeared, it emitted a monstrous heat. "Kid, don't think that you're the only one with an earth-grade treasure. Next, I'll let you know the power of a 6-star king." He roared angrily and turned into a stream of light. Like the god of thunder, he quickly swooped down. Lin Xian coldly snorted and activated the Dragon Sword Realm. Immediately, the green Dragon Sword Realm quickly expanded and covered Elder Danzong. In the next moment, thousands of sword chi swept out, and the entire world turned into a world of swords. Clang, clang. In an instant, Elder Danzong was attacked by countless sword chi. He waved the red iron hammer in his hand and continuously bombarded the surroundings. Every time, an earth-shattering collision occurred. Soon, his arm became numb. This shocked him greatly. Damn it, how is this possible? How can this kid's king domain be so powerful? He was too shocked. The sword chi was incomparably sharp, and it made him tremble in fear. If he was careless, the sword chi would cut him in half. Damn it, he roared angrily, and a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. At this time, he had to activate his king domain. Immediately, a fiery red king domain appeared behind him, and it quickly clashed with Lin Xian's Dragon Sword Realm. The two domains collided, shaking heaven and earth. Lin Xian coldly sneered. His opponent dared to compete with him in king domain. He was courting death. His king domain was evolved from the Dragon Sword Soul, and its power was incomparably powerful. Even if his opponent was a 6-star king, he couldn't compete with him. That was the truth. After the two domains collided a few times, Elder Danzong's expression changed again. This was because he found that countless cracks had appeared on his fiery red king domain. Damn it, how is this possible? Elder Danzong's scalp went numb. He found that he couldn't defeat the young man in front of him. This was unbearable, but it was the truth. "Old man, it's over." Lin Xian coldly snorted, and then a red sword god phantom appeared in his king domain. Monstrous killing intent bloomed, and sword chi filled the sky. The red sword god phantom stepped out and merged with Lin Xian. Immediately, Lin Xian's aura exploded, and he quickly slashed forward with the 9 darkness demonic sword. Puff! The sword split the sky, and a huge sword chi instantly split apart the opponent's king domain. Puff! Elder Danzong was severely injured, and his body flew backward. What? The Pill faction's elder was defeated? How is this possible? The surrounding warriors were stunned. That was Elder Danzong, a 6-star king. At this moment, he couldn't even defeat a core disciple? What a joke! The other disciples of the alchemy sect, in particular, were even more shocked. Lin Xian let out a long roar, and the dragon sword realm expanded. Thousands of sword chi surrounded him, and everywhere he passed, all the warriors were sent flying. No one could resist. It was too terrifying. At this moment, Lin Xian was like a sword demon, and his sharpness was unstoppable. With Lin Xian leading the way at the front, he quickly led Hong Yu and the others away. Humph! It's useless. You can't break the immortal binding net. The ordinary disciples didn't dare to get close, and the elders couldn't do anything. However, there were 3 people from the Chasing Corpse sect that charged over again. They controlled dozens of ferocious zombies, and they roared as they charged forward. These zombies were unafraid of any attacks. Moreover, they didn't feel any pain. They were killing machines. Unfortunately, they met Lin Xian this time. Ordinary attacks might not be able to hurt them, but Lin Xian's sword chi was extremely sharp. At this moment, the sword chi slashed the zombies into pieces. What? In an instant, more than 10 zombies were cut into pieces. Damn brat, how dare you destroy my zombies? When the 3 Chasing Corpse sect martial artists saw this, they were furious. Chapter 1684. In an instant, more than 10 zombies were cut into pieces. Damn brat. How dare you destroy my zombies? The 3 Chasing Corpse sect martial artists were enraged when they saw this. As members of the Chasing Corpse sect, zombies were their weapons. They were even more important than their lives. They had spent a great deal of effort to refine those zombies. But now they had been destroyed so easily. How could they not be angry? In an instant, the 3 of them attacked in a frenzy. Black dragon fist of destruction. Lin Xian clenched his left fist and punched out. Suddenly, a violent aura filled the air. A huge black fist swept forward. Instantly, the remaining zombies and the 3 Chasing Corpse sect martial artists were all sent flying by this punch. It was too terrifying. This punch seemed to be able to destroy the world. No one could block it. At the side, Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng were completely stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to have such terrifying power. Hong Yu was even more shocked. He had always thought of himself as a peerless genius with unparalleled eye techniques. He did not take anyone seriously. He had even hoped to fight Lin Xian. But now, it seemed that he was too naive. Lin Xian's current strength had completely surpassed his. Even if he had unparalleled eye techniques, he would not be able to do anything to Lin Xian. This was not to say that Hong Yu's eyes were not strong. It was just that he was too young. He was only 14 or 15 years old, and had not yet developed the power of this pair of golden eyes. If this pair of golden eyes displayed its true power, it was hard to say who would win in a battle against Lin Xian. Perhaps, other than Lin Xian, no one could fight against it. This was because this pair of golden eyes had a frightening origin. If Lin Xian did not have the great dragon sword soul, he might not be able to fight against it. This was also the reason why Mo Qianqi wanted to snatch Hong Yu away. His real target was the pair of golden eyes. Lin Xian and the others quickly retreated and finally arrived in front of the energy shield. Peerless demonic saber, hurricane blade. Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng activated their king's domains and unleashed their most powerful attacks as they ferociously attacked forwards. The terrifying attack landed on the light screen in front of him, but it was like a stone sinking into the sea. There was not a single spark. What? How could this be? Their expressions changed greatly. Their attacks were extremely powerful. Even if he couldn't break through the barrier, he could at least affect it. But now, there wasn't even the slightest bit of impact. This caused them to develop a deep sense of frustration. Hong Yu's face was also ugly. He activated his golden eyes and searched carefully. Lin Xian released the crimson dragon and quickly said, "Ruzalong, take a look and see if there's any way to break it." Therefore, at the same time, he also threw out a punch. The terrifying punch landed on the surface, causing ripples to appear. However, he was unable to break it open. This was simply too astonishing. His punch could send a 6-star king realm flying, yet it was unable to cause any damage to this energy barrier. It had to be said that it was indeed hard to believe. After the crimson dragon came out, he looked straight ahead and exclaimed, "This is incredible! This is a replica of the immortal trapping dog." He was extremely excited. The immortal trapping net was a supreme treasure that had been passed down from ancient times. It was very famous. However, it was probably impossible to find it now. As for this imitation, it was also incomparably powerful. "Ruzalong, can you break it open?" Lin Xian asked anxiously. "It's impossible to completely break it open, but it should be no problem if we can open a crack and escape." The Crimson Dragon studied it carefully. The surrounding martial artists and assassins also attacked again. Fortunately, Lin Xian and the others were extremely powerful and could still hold on. Outside, the battle continued. The Crimson Dragon kept waving its dragon claws to quickly break through the immortal trapping net. Time passed bit by bit. Hong Yu and the others felt more and more pressure. It seemed that they could not hold on any longer. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon exclaimed, "Found it!" As he spoke, he waved his dragon claws and pointed in a direction. "Attack that place." That was the weakest part of the defense. Hearing this, everyone's faces lit up. Hong Yu was the first to attack. The golden light in his eyes was like a sharp golden sword that quickly pierced forward. At the same time, Ding Peng and Xiao Cheng also attacked with all their might. "No, it's still not enough. Ben Huang, come too." The Crimson Dragon also waved its dragon claws and launched a terrifying attack. Lin Xian also raised his combat strength to the extreme. The great dragon sword soul in his body roared, and the 9 Serenities demonic sword in his hand emitted a black light. Then he stabbed with the sword. The terrifying sword chi tore through the void, causing everyone's hearts to palpitate. Boom! They attacked with all their might and hit the weakest part of the energy shield. Finally, a crack was torn open. What? Seeing this scene, the expressions of the Danzong people in the distance changed. They did not expect that the other party could really break through the defense. Even Mo Qianqi, who was fighting in the sky, frowned, because he really did not believe that a few little kings could break through his immortal trapping net. "Damn it!" He snorted coldly. His body swayed, and he was about to dive down. However, the Qinghe ancestor also laughed. Trying to escape? Not so easy. Several long green rivers surged from his body and turned into green snakes that covered the entire sky. They blocked Mo Qianqi's path. "Get lost!" Mo Qianqi fought back wildly. At the same time, Lin Xian, Hong Yu, and the others directly escaped through the crack. In the next moment, everyone used their fastest speed to escape into the distance. Chase after them. Mo Qianqi retracted the immortal trapping net and issued an order. Immediately, countless Danzong martial artists and powerhouses of the Chasing Corpse sect all chased into the distance. However, most of them were stopped by the people of the Lingshu sect, the Purple Sun sect, and the Wavering Light Sacred Land. Only a small number of them broke through the encirclement. Seeing that a few powerhouses were chasing after them, Mo Qianqi's mood improved a little. In the next moment, a terrifying light bloomed in his eyes, and his entire body was murderous. Senior brother, how dare you ruin my plan? I'll send you to hell today. He stretched out his palm, and a silver beast claw covered the sky and the earth grabbing forward. Immediately, the sky exploded again, and the two of them engaged in an earth-shattering battle. On the other side, Lin Xian, Hong Yu, and the others escaped from the immortal trapping net and quickly ran into the distance. But soon they frowned. Split up and escape. We'll lure them away. Ding Peng gritted his teeth and said, "Okay." The few of them agreed. Lin Xian's body changed, and his bones made cracking sounds. In the end, he turned into the same appearance as Hong Yu. This should be able to confuse them more, Lin Xian said quickly. Hong Yu looked at Lin Xian and the other two and said gratefully, "Hong Yu is very grateful for your help. In the future, I will do my best to repay you." With that, he took the lead and flew into the distance. Chapter 1685. Ding Peng and Xiao Qing each chose a direction and left quickly. Lin Xian was the last to leave. He had been waiting for his pursuers to arrive before he flew toward the east. When those people saw Lin Xian, they thought it was Hong Yu. Therefore, they immediately chased after Lin Xian with murderous intent. However, when those people disappeared, a silver figure appeared on the ground again. Like mercury, it clattered and then condensed into a human figure. It looked exactly like Mo Qianqi. It seemed to be a clone of Mo Qianqi. The silver clone's eyes flickered. Then it stared in the direction where Hong Yu escaped and chased after him. When Lin Xian saw that there were 8 or 9 people following behind him, a smile appeared on his face. If he could lure those people away and allow Hong Yu to escape safely, he would have completed the mission of 10,000 beast ding. Whatever happened in the future would have nothing to do with him. Thinking of this, he flew unhurriedly. He did not let his pursuers catch him, nor did he let him disappear from their sight. Just like that, Lin Xian's figure came to a stop after flying for approximately the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Behind him, 8 people quickly rushed over. In an instant, they surrounded Lin Xian. "Kid, come back with me obediently, otherwise you'll suffer some physical pain." The 8 of them had powerful auras. Among them, 5 were martial artists from the Danzong, and the other 3 were powerhouses from the Chasing Corpse sect. "Go back with you? No need. I think it's better for you to stay here." Lin Xian snorted coldly. His body swayed, and he returned to his original appearance. At the same time, an Hong's divine dragon flew out and quickly cast the array that had been set up long ago. Instantly, it covered a radius of 100 miles. "What? It's you." When they saw Lin Xian change his appearance, their expressions changed drastically. "Damn it, we've been tricked." They were too shocked because they did not expect that they had chased after the wrong person. "Damn kid, just you wait. When we catch him, it'll be your death." These powerhouses roared angrily and wanted to leave, because the most important thing now was to capture Hong Yu. But soon, their faces darkened. The reason for that was because they discovered that the area within a radius of 100 miles had been sealed. A huge formation enveloped this space. "You want to trap us? You're overestimating yourself." One of the Danzong martial artists sneered and waved his fist. His fiery red fists slammed into the array, causing an earth-shattering collision. However, he did not open it. "Damn it. How is this possible?" The Danzong warriors were shocked. He was a 6-star king. He was actually unable to blast open the array? This really surprised him. Little did he know that this was a formation that the Crimson Dragon had meticulously arranged to trap people. Even a 6-star king would need a lot of strength to open it. Not only that, the Crimson Dragon sneered. "Humph! How could the array set up by Ben Huang be broken so easily?" He waved his dragon claws, and the array formation around him flickered with light as he unleashed a series of terrifying attacks. The array formation quickly killed those martial artists. The void vibrated, and the array formation flickered. The 100,000 mountains were extremely terrifying. They appeared in the sky and pressed down on those martial artists below. On the other side, ice and snow covered the sky, as if it was a world of ice. It quickly enveloped them. Thunderclouds rolled above their heads, and terrifying lightning kept falling. These arrays displayed a powerful force that battered the 8 martial artists. Damn it! The 8 martial artists' faces were gloomy as they kept dodging. However, they realized that if this continued, it would waste even more time. Kill that kid. This array formation is much easier to break without anyone controlling it. At this moment, the 8 of them had a common idea. They planned to kill Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. The 8 of them divided into 2 groups of 4 and attacked Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon respectively. In their opinion, no matter how powerful the other party was, he would not be able to resist the 8 of them. Rosalong, kill them! Lin Xian threw the 10,000 beast ding to the Crimson Dragon while he held the 9 darkness demonic sword. Ha 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 ha! Ben Wang hasn't fought in a long time. Let's use them as practice. During this period of time, the Crimson Dragon's cultivation had also recovered, and his strength had skyrocketed. Although he had not recovered to his peak state, the current him was extremely terrifying. Moreover, he could control the array formation around him. In addition to the 10,000 beast ding in his hand, it was not a problem for him to fight against the 4 martial artists. He held the 10,000 beast ding in his hand and unleashed countless terrifying demonic beasts to charge forward. On the other side, Lin Xian was even more direct. Without any hesitation, he quickly activated the dragon sword field and instantly enveloped the 4 of them. Of the 4 people, 2 were powerhouses from the Chasing Corpse sect, and 2 were martial artists from Danzong. In an instant, they were enveloped by the dragon sword field. However, the 4 of them sneered. A puny 3-star king wants to trap the 4 of us with his field? He's overestimating himself. Kid, you're too naive. Looks like you don't know how to spell the word death. Dark Ghost Claw. Among them, one of the powerhouses from the Chasing Corpse sect sneered and waved his palm. The void shook as a huge ghost claw quickly clawed at him. The ghost claw was incomparably black and emitted a terrifying power of death. Wherever it passed, ghostly chi filled the sky. He slapped his surroundings, wanting to tear the dragon's sword field apart. The dragon's sword field bloomed with a dazzling light. Thousands of sword chi crisscrossed within it and easily destroyed the ghost claw. What? Seeing this scene, the expression of the powerhouse from the Chasing Corpse sect changed. He did not expect the king domain to exceed his expectations. His ghost claw was extremely terrifying. Killing a 3-star king was as easy as blowing off dust for him. However, he did not expect it to be ineffective now. Damn it, there's something wrong with this field. I don't believe it. A middle-aged martial artist from Danzong snorted and waved his fist. A fiery red light soared into the sky and dyed the entire space red. However, it was still useless. A sharp sword chi cut the fist in half. The fiery red flames in the sky were all extinguished. Damn it, how is this possible? The faces of the martial artists from Danzong were also ugly. The sword chi in this field was so powerful that it was unbelievable. Are you surprised? Surprised? Lin Xian snorted. It doesn't matter. When you reach hell, you'll have plenty of time to be surprised. He waved his hand, and the dragon sword field exploded with a dazzling light again. Countless sword chi slashed down quickly. Lin Xian held the 9 darkness demonic sword in his hand and charged over quickly. Brat, You're courting deaths. The four powerhouses were furious and used their ultimate techniques to attack. In an instant, four king domains were used at the same time. It was extremely terrifying. Vast amounts of energy kept colliding with the dragon sword field, trying to tear it apart. However, they had underestimated the dragon sword field. The sword chi of the dragon sword field was extremely terrifying. It fought against four king domains. Bang, bang, bang. The five king domains kept colliding, making earth-shattering sounds. Every attack tore apart the sky. Ghost king domain. Among them, a powerhouse from the chasing corpse sect rolled around, forming an incomparably dark field. Chapter 1686. Inside, a ghost king-like figure kept appearing and exuding a powerful aura. Then, a beam of black light pierced forward at high speed. Wherever it passed, the void dimmed as if it had been robbed of its vitality. Even Lin Xian felt the threat of death looming over him. Six Gods Sword technique. He used the Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps and dodged the attack. At the same time, a red sword shadow appeared in his domain. Countless red sword chi surrounded him and charged towards the Ghost King domain. Boom! The sword chi was shocking. The sword god's shadow seemed to have turned into a heavenly sword that could cut through everything. The Ghost King domain was instantly knocked away. It was extremely dim and almost split apart. Puff! The chasing corpse sect martial artist spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. What? Seeing this, the other three martial artists felt their scalps go numb. They did not expect the young man in front of them to be so powerful. They had to go all out and kill him. The three of them did not dare to hold back. They used all their strength and charged forward with their king domain. Whitebone's domain. Another chasing corpse sect martial artist roared. Suddenly, countless white bones appeared around him. They covered the sky and the earth and emitted a terrifying power. Fire Spirit, Turtle Domain. The Danzong martial artist also roared. Suddenly, a huge red tortoise appeared around him. It was extremely heavy and crushed the void. 8 Flames Domain. The body of the other elder from the alchemy sect was covered in fiery red. Within it, there was a red palace that pressed down on Lin Xian. Lin Xian let out a long roar. His black hair fluttered as he unleashed his combat strength to the extreme. At this moment, the dragon sword domain seemed to have come back to life. It turned into a green dragon and kept roaring. The real dragon's roar resounded through the sky. A terrifying aura filled the air. 2 sword gods' shadows appeared and charged towards the White Bones domain and 8 Flames domain. Lin Xian held a sword in one hand and a fist in the other. He used his terrifying sword technique and Black Dragon Fist at the same time. In the next moment, the Jade Fire Tortoise domain collided. At this moment, Lin Xian was simply too terrifying. Every move he made caused the sky to tremble and the ground to sink. Soon, 3 miserable shrieks rang out as their territories were destroyed. 3 figures flew out, their faces filled with fear. They did not expect the other party to be so powerful. Even with the 3 of them working together, they were still no match for him. It's over! Myriad sword chimes. Lin Xian waved his long sword, and the dragon sword domain emitted a terrifying aura. Tens of thousands of sword chi condensed into an azure dragon sword, ruthlessly stabbing towards the 3 people. They covered the sky and covered the earth like 10,000 beasts galloping. A terrifying aura covered the entire space. When everything disappeared, the 4 warriors were nailed to the ground by the sword chi. Every one of them had a terrified expression on their faces. The reason for that was because they did not dare to believe that their opponent would be able to kill the 4 of them so easily. While Lin Xian had dealt with 4 enemies, the Crimson Dragon had also dealt with its opponents. If someone was here and saw this scene, they would definitely scream. The 8 experts were extremely terrifying. However, it was actually defeated by a man and a dragon. This was simply too unbelievable. After dealing with these people, the Crimson Dragon waved its claws and withdrew all the formations around it. "Kid, what do we do next?" the Crimson Dragon asked. "We've already helped Hong Yu lure the enemy away. Logically speaking, we've ruined Dan Chenzi's plan. Next, there should be nothing for us to do. This storm is too big, and it involves the Wavering Light's sacred land. It's better that we don't get involved." Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon nodded, and the 2 of them prepared to leave. However, at this moment, a furious roar suddenly came from the north in the distance. Following that, countless golden rays of light bloomed. Although it was very far away, Lin Xian could still see it clearly with his martial Dao heavenly eye. This golden light, could it be that Hong Yu was fighting with someone? Lin Xian frowned, then said, "Rizalong, let's go and take a look." He was a little worried, so he wanted to go and take a look. Then the 2 of them used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and turned into 2 streaks of lightning, flying towards the north. On the vast land in the north, 2 figures stood. One was Hong Yu, and the other was a mysterious person whose body was shining with silver light. His appearance was exactly the same as Mo Tianqi's. It was the clone. At this moment, Hong Yu's face was pale, and his body was injured. Blood kept dripping onto the ground. There were 4 silver chains around him. However, they were already broken. In fact, there were even countless silver scales scattered all over the ground. Opposite him, Mo Tianqi's clone smiled slightly, and his eyes were shining. Not bad indeed. As expected of that kind of bloodline. You can even escape from my restraints. He was too shocked. Although he was only a clone, his strength was absolutely terrifying. No one below the Almighty could fight against him. At this moment, this young man was actually able to break free from his restraints. It was indeed shocking. Moreover, what made him even more happy was that if he could obtain that pair of eyes, his strength would undergo an earth-shattering change. "Kid, you're still too weak. Although you have those eyes, you can't unleash your full strength with your current strength. Otherwise, you wouldn't have ended up like this. Come with me obediently. If you're lucky, you can still live. Otherwise, today will be the day you die." The silver clone's voice was cold and carried a strong, murderous aura. "Follow you? Don't even think about it." Hong Yu gritted his teeth. His small face was ferocious, and his eyes were shining with golden light. He was now suffering from internal injuries. The silver figure in front of him was the most terrifying enemy he had ever met. He had already displayed his current strength, but he still couldn't do anything to his opponent. This made him feel powerless. Was he really going to be caught by his opponent today? He didn't want to live like that, so even if he self-destructed today, he wouldn't fall into his opponent's hands. Thinking of this, a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. In the next moment, a bright golden light burst out from his eyes, forming a golden light beam that flew forward. Wherever it passed, the void was cut open. In an instant, the golden light shrouded the silver figure. Clang! The golden light collided with the silver figure, and the sound of metal clashing burst out. "Humph! Stubborn!" The silver clone snorted coldly. A silver light rose from the surface of his body, and a mysterious pattern appeared to resist the golden light. Soon he dissolved the attack. Then he stretched out his palm, and a ball of silver-white flame appeared in his palm. With a wave of his palm, he repelled the golden light. The silver palm, accompanied by the monstrous flame, grabbed forward. The silver palm grew bigger with the wind, and like a 5-fingered cage, it enveloped Hong Yu. Chapter 1687. Pung. In an instant, Hongyu was struck by this aura. His body flew backward, and he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Ah! Hongyu roared. He was bleeding all over, but he was not afraid. The golden light in his eyes spun rapidly, forming two strange patterns. 10,000 years in one glance. He activated his strongest illusion technique. When the silver figure felt this illusion attack, his body shook and his face stiffened. But soon there was a roar in his body, and he was sent flying. The terrifying illusion was broken. Kid, I have to admit that your eye technique is indeed very strong. You can even fight those of a higher level. I'm afraid even a 6-star king is no match for you, but it's useless against me. I'm a clone of my lord. My strength is definitely not something you can imagine. The silver figure sneered. In the next moment, he slowly walked forward. All right, it's over. Come back with me. With every step he took, silver ripples flickered under his feet, forming a mysterious energy. Hongyu's face was pale, and his body was on the verge of collapsing. This was because the other party's footsteps seemed to be stepping on his heart, making him tremble all over. He could not resist at all. He struggled with all his might, but more and more injuries appeared on his body. Many parts of his body even exploded. I advise you not to move, or you will definitely die. The silver figure looked at Hongyu, who was lying in a pool of blood, expressionless. He waved his hand, and a silver chain flew out like a spirit snake. It seemed that he wanted to chain Hongyu. Hongyu's body shook, trying to struggle, but he could not resist at all. A look of despair appeared in his golden eyes. He even mobilized the last bit of energy in his body, preparing to self-destruct. However, at this moment, a sword light flashed, and like a divine rainbow shooting star, it instantly slashed the chain. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere, and 4 silver chains flew out. Who is it? The silver figure roared when he saw that his attack was sent flying. At the same time, 2 figures appeared in the void. 1 man and 1 dragon, their expressions serious, and their auras sharp. It's you, Hongyu said with difficulty when he saw the figure. That's right, it was Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. They flew madly all the way and finally arrived at the last moment. The Crimson Dragon appeared in front of Hongyu in a flash. It waved its claws and took out a few pills for Hongyu to swallow. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression was grave as he stared at the silver figure. When he saw the other party's appearance, his eyelids twitched violently. Mo Tianqi. He was shocked inwardly. This was an existence that had impersonated Dan Qinzi, a true almighty. No wonder Hong, you couldn't withstand it. Not to mention Hongyu, even he could not contend against it. However, wasn't the other party fighting the Qing, he ancestor? How did he end up here? Kid, be careful. He's just a clone. The Crimson Dragon reminded him from behind. Clone. Upon hearing this, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it wasn't him. As long as Mo Tianqi didn't come in person, it wouldn't be the worst-case scenario. Indeed, compared to the real Mo Tianqi, a doppelganger was probably much weaker. If Lin Xian attacked with all his strength, he might be able to withstand it. However, the silver clone sneered when he saw the change in Lin Xian's expression. Kid, what's with that expression? Do you think you can defeat me? You're too naive. Although I'm just a clone, I'm not someone you can fight against. He waved his hand, and the 4 silver chains flew toward Lin Xian again. They were like 4 silver pythons, extremely fierce. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He held the 9 darkness demonic sword in his hand and swung it. There was a collision, and the sky was filled with golden light. The 9 darkness demonic sword hit the 4 silver chains, causing the surrounding void to collapse instantly. He blocked it. The silver clone was shocked. He didn't expect the combat strength of the young man opposite him to be so strong. It was beyond his expectations. One had to know that even a 6-star king couldn't block his attack. However, the other party blocked it. This was too surprising. Good kid. No wonder you're so confident. You're indeed capable. However, it's impossible for you to kill me. The silver clone sneered, and then stared at Lin Xian. It seems like you have some secrets on you. Why don't I capture you and give you to master? Poof. The silver clone stretched out his hand, and a ball of white flame jumped rapidly in his palm. Whoosh, whoosh. The ball of silver-white flame flickered with flickering light as it flew out at high speed. It flew toward Lin Xian. Be careful, Hong Yu warned from behind. He was injured by the silver flame, so he naturally knew how powerful it was. Lin Xian's heart was also beating wildly. The silver flame was a great threat to him. The aftershocks made his whole body tense, and he felt like he was on the verge of death. What a terrifying flame. What is it? Lin Xian was shocked. The other party was just a clone, but the power it displayed was too terrifying. He really didn't know how powerful Mo Tianqi's real body was. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and then his fingers moved. Balls of black flame flew out from his fingertips and quickly floated forward. Boom. These black flames were the dark sky flame. It was extremely terrifying and emitted a strange energy. In the next moment, the two balls of flames collided in the air. Chi, chi. The two balls of flames collided and shook violently. The terrifying temperature burned, causing the entire void to distort. Boom. However, in the end, Lin Xian's dark sky flame couldn't resist the silver flame and was torn apart. Whoosh. Although the silver flame had broken through the dark sky flame and became much dimmer, it still charged toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. His heavenly darkness flame was incomparably terrifying and had never failed before. However, this time it was actually destroyed by the silver flames. This shocked him greatly. He snorted and moved his finger again. Suddenly, a blue aura surged out, as if it was going to freeze the entire space. See God's ice. Blue ice crystals flew out, forming ripples that froze the space. The power of ice surged toward the silver flame. Crack, crack, crack. Instantly, the silver flame slowed down a lot. In the end, it seemed to have entered a quagmire and became slower and slower. Not only that, but the cold aura around it also increased. If not for the terrifying silver flame, it would have been frozen long ago. The two were in a stalemate. The silver flame jumped and emitted a terrifying energy that melted the surrounding ice. However, there was too much cold aura. The two fought, and in the end, the silver flame was frozen. What? It's frozen! Seeing this scene, Hong Yu, who was behind him, was also dumbfounded. He knew how powerful the silver flame was. Back then, he fought back with all his strength and couldn't resist it. However, now it could freeze it. He had to admit that it was really shocking. Chapter 1688. Even more astonished was the silver clone. He didn't expect that the other party could really seal his silver flames. He couldn't believe it. First, it was the black flames. It should be the origin of some kind of beast. Now, even the sea god's ices appeared. This kid actually has so many treasures in his hands. Looks like I really can't let you go today. The silver clone's eyes glowed. Then, his entire body turned into a silver flash and charged over quickly. A silver palm seemed to have crossed the void and directly hit Lin Xian's side. The terrifying power set off countless storms. That aura made one's hair stand on end. It was as if it could pressure everything. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he instantly used the dragon sword domain. A green sword domain appeared, emitting a sharp aura and blocking the silver palm. That was why he wasn't suppressed. At the same time, Lin Xian moved the demonic sword in his hand and shot out streaks of black sword chi. They were like black dragons, sharp and unstoppable as they quickly counterattacked. His current combat strength was shockingly terrifying. Even a 6-star king couldn't compete with him. But this time, his opponent was the incomparably mysterious silver clone. Therefore, although Lin Xian's sword chi was terrifying, it was suppressed at this moment. The silver clone was like a god of war, covered in flames. It blocked all the sword chi that filled the sky outside its body. Boom. At the same time, the silver palm also slapped on the dragon sword domain. Immediately, it caused a tremor. Lin Xian's body was also sent flying. So powerful. Lin Xian was shocked. This palm was too terrifying. Fortunately, his dragon sword domain was strong and wasn't destroyed. If it were any other 6-star king, they probably wouldn't be able to survive under this palm. With a cold snort, Lin Xian charged over again with the dragon sword domain. Then, the two of them erupted into a shocking battle. But this time, the enemy was too powerful. It was the clone of a peerless almighty. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian couldn't suppress it at all. Instead, he was constantly pushed back. "Kid, Ben Huang is here. Let's attack together." When the Crimson Dragon saw that the situation was not right, it roared and let out a loud dragon roar. In the next moment, his figure flashed, and he quickly joined the battle. The battle became even more intense. The heavens collapsed, and the earth cracked. The surrounding mountains and trees were all reduced to ashes at this moment. Within a radius of 1,000 miles, there was not a single place that remained unscathed, and it was still spreading. Damn it, he's too strong. Not long after, the Crimson Dragon was also sent flying. Fortunately, as a divine dragon, his physique was extremely strong. Although he was sent flying by the slap, his body did not split open. Even so, the Crimson Dragon was still shocked. "It's over. This clone is too powerful." "The two of us can't suppress it at all." Lin Xian's face was also gloomy. He didn't expect his opponent to be so terrifying. He pushed the dragon sword domain to the limit. 2 sword phantoms, carrying monstrous sword light, quickly attacked. Behind him, Hong Yu also used his eye technique to look for an opportunity. Wang. Finally, he found an opportunity. Golden light bloomed in his eyes. The 10,000 years illusion directly pulled the soul of the silver clone into a strange space. The silver clone's body trembled as it was hit by the illusion. Good chance. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He quickly slashed down with the 9 darkness demonic sword in his hand. At the same time, he punched out with his left fist and used the apocalyptic black dragon fist. A violent aura shrouded everything. Boom. With a loud bang, the shadowy figure was sent flying. A terrifying sword wound and a fist hole appeared on his body. "I hit him." Lin Xian and the others were overjoyed. After fighting for so long, they finally injured their opponent. Moreover, it was not an ordinary injury. These 2 blows were definitely enough to make the opponent suffer. Indeed, the opponent's face was hideous. "Damn brat, how dare you injure me?" He was too angry. A mere 3-star king had injured him. Moreover, it was a serious injury. He couldn't believe it. Unforgivable. Die. The silver clone's face was hideous as he punched out. That silver fist was like a silver meteor. It was incomparably terrifying. It contained an aura that could tear the heavens and earth apart. Humph! Thunderbolt Dragon. Lin Xian waved his fist as well. Immediately, a huge black dragon appeared, accompanied by countless lightning bolts and rushed forward. Boom, boom, boom. Two terrifying fists exploded in front of him. Lin Xian kept retreating. Although the other party was injured, that terrifying power was still extremely shocking. Damn it, just how strong is this clone? The Crimson Dragon gritted its teeth. Lin Xian's face was also ugly. Up until now, he had suffered many injuries. Fortunately, he had the longevity art and had a heaven-defying recovery ability. Otherwise, if it were anyone else, they would have died long ago. However, if this continued, he had no chance of winning at all. Looks like I can only use that move. Lin Xian's expression was grave. In the next moment, his figure flashed, and he entered the dragon sword domain. The surrounding dragon-shaped sword Qi formed a dragon-shaped sword shadow that emitted a terrifying aura. Lin Xian grabbed the dragon-shaped sword shadow, and the aura on his body suddenly skyrocketed. At this moment, he was like a sword god, extremely sharp. Damn it, what is that? Even the silver clone's heart was beating wildly when he saw this scene. Because the dragon-shaped sword shadow was a great threat to him, this was simply too shocking. One had to know that he was Mo Tianqi's clone, and his strength was extremely terrifying. Except for those peerless almighties who could threaten him. Other than that, there was nothing that could threaten him. But now, the dragon-shaped sword shadow in the opponent's hand made him feel the threat of death. Damn it, I have to get rid of this kid. The silver clone's eyes were full of murderous intent. In the next moment, silver light flowed on his arms. Like a crystal, it formed a silver spear and a shield that shone with silver light. Soon, he charged towards Lin Xian again. Lin Xian also held the dragon-shaped sword shadow and quickly waved his arm. Dragon sword, slash. A huge azure dragon sword Qi slashed out quickly, and a terrifying sword radiance shot up to the sky. On the opposite side, the silver clone roared, and the silver spear in his hand pierced out like lightning. Not only that, but the silver shield was also constantly enlarging like a silver mountain standing in front of him. Boom. In the next moment, the sky and earth shook, and the entire sky was trembling. A terrifying energy storm swept out in all directions. The dragon sword domain around Lin Xian also transformed into an azure dragon divine shield to resist the energy storm. The silver clone in front of him let out a miserable cry. There was even the smell of blood in the sky. Did it work? At this moment, Hong Yu, the Crimson Dragon, and Lin Xian all looked forward with rapt attention. Chapter 1689. The energy storm in front of them gradually disappeared, and a silver figure appeared in front of them. The figure was no longer as arrogant as before. Not only that, but one of his arms was also missing. Obviously, the sword strike just now had caused him serious injuries. Kid, I want you dead. The silver doppelganger had a ferocious look on his face. Spiritual light bloomed from his body, and his body suddenly grew larger, turning into a terrifying monster. It was a ferocious monster head. Silver spikes like divine spears could be seen on it. It was terrifying and ferocious. It was filled with indescribable strangeness. A large bloody mouth quickly opened, and countless amounts of energy converged in that direction. Gradually, a silver ball of light was formed. The ball of light was too terrifying. It seemed to be able to kill an almighty. Even Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were frightened. Oh no! Retreat! Lin Xian retreated quickly, while the dark red divine dragon circled its tail and brought Hongyu along as it flew into the distance at high speed. This attack was too terrifying. It was far from what they could withstand. However, the silver doppelganger's speed was beyond their expectations. The silver ball of light in the ferocious silver head suddenly burst out, forming a beam of light that rushed into the distance. The void was instantly pierced through. Nothing could stop it. Not only that, but the silver head also started to spin rapidly. The silver beam of light turned into a sword of light and slashed forward. Boom, boom, boom. The void was directly cut in half. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were also affected. Azure Dragon, Divine Shield. Lin Xian shouted coldly. Countless Sword Qi formed a huge azure shield that quickly blocked the attack. However, it was blasted away in an instant. In an instant, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were injured. Hong Yu vomited large mouthfuls of blood. It seemed that his injuries were even more serious. He said weakly, "Lin Xian, hurry up and leave. Don't worry about me. If you stay any longer, I'm afraid you'll die here too." "No, I have to take you away." Lin Xian shook his head. He had a feeling that Mo Qianqi was plotting something big, and he absolutely couldn't let him get Hong Yu's eyes. Otherwise, the entire eastern wasteland would face a crisis. Hong Yu let out a sigh. Initially, he thought that he was extremely lucky to have this pair of eyes. But I didn't expect that he would bring me endless disasters. Forget it, I can't escape today anyway. They were either killed or brought back. I'm afraid that the consequences of being brought back will be even worse. Hong Yu laughed bitterly, but soon after, his eyes shone with a shocking light. Not only that, but the blood in his body also started burning in an instant. "What are you doing? Don't act recklessly. We will definitely be able to leave," Lin Xian hurriedly said. He found that the other party's situation was very strange, as if he was burning his bloodline power. That's right, he was burning his bloodline power. Hong Yu went all out, attacking with all his might, burning the last of his bloodline power. Soon, the aura on its body became incomparably terrifying. Even Zhou Lingxian felt extremely shocked. On the opposite side, the silver doppelganger also roared when he saw this scene. "Damned brat, stop right there." He found that the other party was actually going all out. This made him extremely angry. One had to know that his mission this time was to bring the other party back alive. Therefore, he wouldn't allow the other party to go all out. The silver doppelganger rushed over with a monstrous silver light, wanting to stop him. However, Hong Yu's bloodline power was burning fiercely. Instantly, a red light appeared on his body. At the same time, behind him, a huge eye slowly opened. That eye was like an ancient object that had been asleep for a long time. At this moment, Hong Yu was burning his blood as the price to awaken it again. It was a dark golden eye that was slowly opening at this moment. It was very slow, but every time it opened, the terrifying aura became a little stronger. When it opened halfway, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon couldn't take it anymore. The two of them raised their king domains and resisted with difficulty. Fortunately, the dark golden eye wasn't targeted at them. The silver doppelganger's expression also changed drastically. He felt a threat, so he couldn't help but increase his speed again. In an instant, he arrived in front of Hong Yu. The strange head shone with silver light and turned into a huge hand that grabbed downward. The palm was silver in color, as if it was made of metal. Countless runes surrounded it. It was an incomparably terrifying seal. As long as Hong Yu was hit, he would be completely sealed and unable to resist. However, at this moment, the dark golden eye that was summoned behind Hong Yu opened completely. That eye was incomparably deep, as if it was the eye of a god, causing one's heart to palpitate. That gaze fell on the silver doppelganger. Crack, crack, crack. The silver doppelganger's movement stopped, as if it was nailed to the void. In the next moment, countless cracks appeared on its body. Then, with a boom, it exploded into countless pieces. The incomparably powerful silver doppelganger was an existence that even Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon couldn't contend against when they joined forces. At this moment, it was killed with a single glance. This was too terrifying. Even Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's hearts beat wildly. This power was too terrifying. It definitely surpassed that of a supreme expert. It was something that they couldn't understand. What kind of eye technique was this? How could it summon such a terrifying eye? Lin Xian's heart beat wildly as he looked at the disappearing dark golden eye. It seemed to be similar to the Void Sky Eye, but it was more like the mysterious youth that attacked in the Sacred Palace that day. That day, the other party also summoned a huge eye in the sky. It was extremely terrifying, and the situation was very similar to this one. What was the connection between the two? Lin Xian didn't know. Beside him, the Crimson Dragon swallowed its saliva. At this moment, the dark golden eye behind Hong Yu completely disappeared. Hong Yu spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. "How are you?" Lin Xian hurried over and took out a few healing pills. "It's useless. Don't waste your energy," Hong Yu said weakly. "I burned my life force as the price to use a forbidden eye technique in advance. There's no way I can survive. If the pills don't work, then what can we do to keep you alive?" Lin Xian asked. "There's no other way. My life force has already been exhausted. I've reached the end of my path." Hong Yu shook his head slightly. Then he looked at Lin Xian and said weakly, "Lin Xian, do you know what my eye is?" "What's your eye?" Lin Xian was also very confused. He didn't know why Hong Yu asked this. Moreover, he was also very curious. What kind of eye technique was this? "My eye is the heavenly secret divine eye." As expected, at this moment, the Crimson Dragon and He Tu both exclaimed. Chapter 1690. "My eyes are the heavenly secret divine eyes," Hong Yu said slowly. Indeed, at this moment, the Crimson Dragon and He Tu exclaimed. They had already guessed it, but they were even more shocked when they heard Hong Yu say it. "I don't have much time left. I can't tell you in detail what the heavenly secret divine eyes are. Anyway, it's a very terrifying eye. I used to be proud of it, thinking that it could make me a great emperor, but now I can't reach that level. Lin Xian, you are very strong. Even I am shocked. Perhaps you are qualified to become a great emperor. So, I want to give you my eyes. I hope that one day I can see what kind of existence a great emperor is. I want to see the glory of a great emperor. Give me your eyes." Lin Xian was stunned, while the Crimson Dragon and He Tu exclaimed, "I hope you won't refuse, and I hope you can become a great emperor. This is my last hope." Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "Don't worry, I will become a great emperor one day." Hearing this, Hong Yu smiled with satisfaction, then slowly closed his eyes. The aura on his body also disappeared at this moment. Looking at the dead Hong Yu, Lin Xian felt terrible. He didn't expect that a peerless genius would die in front of him just like that. This even made him feel a sense of fear. Hong Yu had a heaven-defying eye, which attracted countless people to hunt him down. If news of his great dragon sword soul was exposed, would he also attract countless powerful people to hunt him down? When that time came, would he be able to escape? Or would he be like Hong Yu, burning his life force and giving it his all, only to die in the end? He even understood why the fourth-generation successor of the dragon sword was so powerful, but he was still killed in the end. The situation back then should be similar to today's situation. He was hunted down by countless peerless experts. The Crimson Dragon sighed. "Kid, those eyes are the heavenly secret divine eyes. They've been mysterious since ancient times." He Tu also floated out and said in a deep voice, "Brat, Now, you know how cruel the path of cultivation is. If you want to become a great emperor, it will be even crueler, because you will become the enemy of the entire world. Make the entire world his enemy? Lin Xian muttered. That's right, the entire world is our enemy, because if you want to become a great emperor, you must defeat everyone in the world and become the only one in this era. Only then can you become a great emperor. Therefore, your future path will be very difficult. It will attract the pursuit of countless people. There will be experts, peerless almighties, and even terrifying saints in the future. They will all attack you. As for you, you will most likely die. Of course, you can also give up and hand over the heavenly secret God eyes and your great dragon sword soul. That way, you might be much safer. However, you've also lost the right to compete for the throne. Think about it carefully. Hearing He Tu and the Crimson Dragon's words, Lin Xian fell silent. However, not long after, his eyes shone with determination. I will definitely walk down the path of a great emperor. So, what if the entire world is my enemy? Lin Xian's heart was filled with pride. I will definitely become a great emperor. Definitely. He waved his hand and stored Hong Yu's body into the black earth. Let's go. Then his figure flashed, and he left with He Tu and the Crimson Dragon. After flying for hundreds of thousands of miles, they arrived at a mountain range and landed. Then Lin Xian waved his hand, and Sword Chi flew out, creating a cave abode at the bottom of a mountain. His figure flashed, and he entered the cave. Buzz. The Crimson Dragon set up countless formations around the cave. He Tu also cast a spell and summoned the Black Earth. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon flashed and entered the Black Earth. The Black Earth lacked energy and could not fly for long periods of time. However, its defense was extremely terrifying. Even if there were powerful people, they would not be able to open it, because what Lin Xian was going to do next was extremely important. No one could disturb him. After entering the Black Earth, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon finally heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that this matter would definitely be a terrifying storm that would sweep across the entire eastern wilderness. As for the alchemy sect, it would be pushed to the forefront of the storm. Moreover, with Mo Qianqi's personality, he would definitely not give up on pursuing Hong Yu. Therefore, Lin Xian's current situation could be said to be very dangerous. However, he was not afraid at all, because he was different from Hong Yu. Although both of them had precious treasures and were exceptionally talented, their future achievements could be said to be limitless. However, Hong Yu was too young. He was only 15 or 16 years old and had just started cultivating. He had not experienced many battles. However, Lin Xian was different. He had experienced countless battles, big and small. He had also experienced countless life and death situations. It could be said that in terms of survival, he had completely surpassed Hong Yu. In addition, Lin Xian had the Crimson Dragon, He Tu, and many other secret inheritances by his side. Therefore, his strength was completely different from Hong Yu's. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian asked in a deep voice, "What are these eyes? What are the heavenly secret divine eyes?" "Let me explain," He Tu said slowly. "The heavenly secret divine eyes are Hong Yu's eyes. This is an extremely terrifying bloodline. In this true spirit world, this bloodline power is among the top 10. They are called the Heavenly Secret Clan. Rumor has it that these eyes have mysterious power. Illusions are only one of them." Moreover, there is another rumor that these eyes are related to the reincarnation sword. The reincarnation sword. Lin Xian was shocked. He did not expect Hong Yu's eyes to have such a terrifying origin. No wonder Mo Qianqi desperately wanted to obtain them. The reincarnation sword? Could it be the reincarnation sword of the 5 swords of the world? Lin Xian asked. Yes, the reincarnation sword is one of the 5 swords of the world. It is as famous as your great dragon sword. Its power is boundless, unimaginable, and unparalleled. Therefore, in order to obtain the reincarnation sword, the experts of the true spirit world wantonly hunted down the heavenly secret clan. No matter how powerful the heavenly secret clan was, they could not fight against the entire world. Therefore, in the end, they were exterminated. Of course, perhaps 1 or 2 of them escaped and were scattered in some corner of the world. However, he did not expect Hong Yu to be a member of the heavenly secret clan. Hearing this, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. It turned out that these eyes had such an origin. The 5 swords of the world were said to be the 5 divine swords formed by the 5 forces of the world when the world was created. Now, Lin Xian knew 3 of the 5 swords of the world. Chapter 1691. Legend had it that the 5 swords of the world were formed by the 5 powers of heaven and earth when heaven and earth were created. Lin Xian now knew 3 of the 5 swords of the world: his great dragon sword, Lord Alcohol's devouring sword, and now he knew the samsara sword. Then, what's the rest? Lin Xian asked. Hey, Two-Side. Legend has it that there are 7 types of origin powers in heaven and earth. 2 of them have already disappeared. Now, only the 5 swords of the world are left. However, I don't know about the remaining 2 swords either. You don't know either? Lin Xian was shocked as he looked at the Crimson Dragon. He too also shook his head. Kid, don't be anxious. If your ambition is to become a great emperor, you'll meet those powers sooner or later. Lin Xian nodded and did not dwell on this issue any longer. Then he asked, by the way, what did Hong Yu mean by giving me his eyes? Could it be that I can use these eyes? The heavenly secret divine eyes are very magical. Not only are they eyes, but they're also a kind of treasure, so they can be transferred. However, only the people of the heavenly secret race can fully unleash their power. I wonder what kind of power they can unleash on you. Lin Xian fell into deep thought. Then he asked, what do you two suggest? I suggest that you take these eyes. Firstly, it's to fulfill Hong Yu's wish. Secondly, these eyes are related to the samsara sword. If you obtain them, you might be able to find clues about the samsara sword. If you can obtain 2 of the 5 swords of the world, it won't be difficult for you to become a great emperor. Okay, Lin Xian nodded. Next, the Crimson Dragon and He Tu would do it. They needed to transplant the heavenly secret divine eyes into Lin Xian's eyes. This process took 5 days. In the following month, Lin Xian had been recuperating, allowing the heavenly secret divine eyes to completely fuse with his body. Although he was recuperating here, the outside world was already turned upside down. What happened in Danzong was spread out, and the whole eastern wilderness was shocked. Not only that, there was something even more shocking. That meant that the Qinghe Great Master had died. This exposed the Wavering Light Sacred Land. Esteemed Cultivator Clear River was their elder and a peerless expert. His strength was incomparably terrifying. Who would have thought that he would be killed outside? Moreover, it was said that the person who killed him was the traitor of the Yaoguang Holy Land, Mo Tianqi. This made the Wavering Light Sacred Land even more furious. Therefore, the Yaoguang Sacred Land issued a must-kill order to the whole world, ordering them to hunt down Mo Tianqi and all the martial artists in Danzong. Instantly, the world was shocked. They didn't expect such a big thing to happen in a small Holy Land selection. This was a huge storm that would engulf the entire eastern wasteland. Not only the eastern wasteland, but the other 4 regions were also shaken. They had heard that Mo Tianqi had made a move because of one person, and that person was very likely a member of the Heaven's Legacy race, although the Wavering Light Sacred Land was a peerless sacred land. And Elder Chingha was also an elder of the sacred land. His death, although shocking, was not enough to shake the entire true spirit world. However, the Heaven's Legacy race was different. It was an ancient race that had the legendary Heaven's Legacy godly eyes. Later, it was destroyed. Originally, they thought that it would never appear again. But unexpectedly, it appeared now. This was simply too shocking. For a time, the whole world was shaken. Various forces kept investigating and searching for information about the Heaven's Legacy race. This was because the Heaven's Legacy race was related to the legendary reincarnation sword. If they could obtain information about the reincarnation sword, their chances of success on the path to becoming a great emperor would increase countless times. After all, there hadn't been a great emperor for nearly 10,000 years. Perhaps this time, there would be a martial monarch among them. Therefore, all the forces in the world were ready to make a move. Even the major forces in Zhongzhou, Shima, Nanling, and Northern Plains sent martial artists to the Eastern Wasteland to investigate. After the Wavering Light Sacred Land learned about this, they immediately took control of the entire Dan Zone. However, at this moment, only ordinary disciples were left in Dan Zone. The core disciples, direct disciples, elders, and Mo Tianqi had all fled. However, the Wavering Light Sacred Land did not let them go. Arrest warrants were sent out one after another. All of the Pill ancestor martial artists had to be captured. For a time, the Eastern Wasteland cities, streets, and alleys were filled with these people's portraits. Moreover, the Wavering Light Sacred Land also offered generous rewards. Therefore, before long, many core disciples were captured, and even some elders were captured. In the end, other forces, and even the clan of the ancients joined in. All the disciples and elders were captured. However, there were still two people who escaped. One was Mo Tianqi, and the other was surprising. He was a core disciple of the Dan Zone called Lin Xian. Logically speaking, it was not surprising that Mo Tianqi and the others could not capture him. After all, the other party was also a peerless almighty, and after a few hundred years of planning, his forces were definitely not weak. However, a mere core disciple was actually able to escape their pursuit. This was truly shocking. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that the young man from the Heaven's Legacy race called Hong Yu had also disappeared. They could ignore Lin Xian's matter, but they had to find out Hong Yu's whereabouts. This was related to the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes. However, they did not know that Hong Yu was already dead and had given the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes to Lin Xian. Even Mo Tianqi did not know about this. The only people who knew were Lin Xian, the Crimson Dragon, and Hey Tuesday. After a month, Lin Xian gradually adapted to the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes. His eyes were now more profound than before. If he did not use his eye technique, no one would be able to tell that his eyes were the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes. Once he used his eye technique, his eyes would emit a faint golden light. After experimenting, Lin Xian found that the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes were much more powerful than the Martial Dao Heavenly Eye. However, the only disadvantage was that he could not hide the golden light at all. He was afraid that once he used it, someone would recognize it. Therefore, he still used the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes as a secret technique. Unless he had no other choice, he would not use it. Moreover, he had the great dragon sword soul, and his fighting strength was unparalleled. He only used the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes so that he could communicate with the Samsara sword in the future. After more than a month of rest, his injuries were completely healed. Therefore, he wanted to go out and take a look. Moreover, he also wanted to know what was going on outside. No one should know that Hong Yu is dead, and no one should know that I have the Heavenly Legacy Divine Eyes. Therefore, there shouldn't be any danger, right? Lin Xian thought for a while and decided to leave. Chapter 1692. No one should know that Hung Yu is dead, and no one should know that I have the heavenly secret divine eye, so there shouldn't be any danger, right? Lin Xian thought for a while and decided to leave. After all, he couldn't stay here forever. However, he couldn't go back to Danzong, nor could he go to the Wavering Light Sacred Land. It seemed that he had to plan where to go in the future. Lin Xian put away the black earth and used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps to fly outside. However, for safety's sake, he still wore a black robe to cover his face. Soon, he arrived at a nearby city. The city was bustling with people. However, Lin Xian noticed that there seemed to be more powerful martial artists than usual. Moreover, these people looked hurried, as if they were looking for something. He found a restaurant and quietly listened to some news. In the end, he found that Mo, Tianqi, and Danzong's matter had been exposed. Now, not only the Eastern Wilderness, but the entire true spirit world knew. Moreover, what worried him even more was that the news that Hung Yu was a member of the Heavenly Secret Tribe had also been exposed. Fortunately, no one knew that he had the Heavenly Secret Divine Eye. However, there was still one thing that worried him. The Wavering Light Sacred Land was wantonly hunting him and Mo Tianqi. He could understand why they were hunting Mo Tianqi because he had just received news. Mo Tianqi had killed the Qinghe Great Master and led the entire Danzong in a rebellion. But why did they want to capture him? He then asked around discreetly and found out that all the elders and disciples of the entire Pill sect had been captured. Only he and Mo Tianqi hadn't been captured. That was why the Wavering Light Sacred Land was hunting him. It seemed that he was indeed in a bad situation. Lin Xian frowned slightly. When he left the restaurant and came to the street, he found that his portrait was pasted on the walls. In fact, even his cultivation and characteristics were clearly marked out. It was obvious that they wouldn't stop until they caught him. F***CK. It seems that I can't stay in these cities for a while. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He decided to stay in the surrounding forest for a while. There were many spirit herbs and demonic beasts there, as well as other treasures of heaven and earth he could cultivate there. Therefore, when he found out about these things, he left the city. However, not long after leaving the city, Lin Xian frowned as he realized that he was being followed. Immediately, he snorted coldly and increased his speed. Whoosh! Lin Xian turned into a bolt of lightning and flew towards the boundless primeval forest. After flying like this for a while, Lin Xian suddenly descended. Because this place was far enough from the city, and there was no one around, it was time to deal with the trouble behind him. Surrounded by a vast primeval forest, mountains, rivers, and lush trees, it was very suitable for battle. After Lin Xian landed, he turned to look behind him. Sure enough, there was a black dot of light flying towards them from behind. That speck of light was very fast, like a bolt of lightning. Wherever it passed, it set off an endless gale, blowing the forest below. If one were to look at it from afar, it would look like a green wave, surging and roaring. Soon, that figure arrived nearby. It seemed to be a young man in his 30s. He was dressed in a green robe and surrounded by an aura. There were also terrifying rays of light under his feet. His entire person looked extremely fierce. His eyes were like lightning as they stared fixedly at Lin Xian. "It's you, kid." The young man in his 30s waved his hand and took out a wanted poster. He compared it to Lin Xian and then sneered. "Come back with me obediently, and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I'll break your limbs and drag you back like a dog." The young man's voice was as cold as a sharp sword, shaking the surroundings. As he spoke, the entire forest trembled. How arrogant! Lin Xian snorted coldly. Why should I go back with you? Who do you think you are? Humph! You really don't know what's good for you. The young man walked in the air with his hands behind his back and looked down at Lin Xian. Your entire Danzong has been captured. Kid, I advise you not to resist. Betraying the Wavering Light Sacred Land is the biggest mistake you've made in your life. Wavering Light Sacred Land. Hearing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. You're from the Wavering Light Sacred Land? That's right. I'm a disciple of the Wavering Light Sacred Land. Yen Kuan. Kid, I advise you not to resist. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state. You're indeed a disciple of the Wavering Light Sacred Land. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and they shone brightly. I've always heard that the Wavering Light Sacred Land is a top force. I'm very good. How strong are the disciples of the Wavering Light Sacred Land? It seems that I'll be able to see it today. Humph, you're really shameless. You want to fight with me? The Wavering Light Sacred Land. Disciple sneered, disdainfully. To tell you the truth, the Wavering Light Sacred Land is not something that Danzong can compare to. Even the top prodigies of the three major sects are the most ordinary people in the Wavering Light Sacred Land. You, a core disciple of the Danzong, dare to fight with me? You're courting death. You'll know whether I'm courting death or not after we fight. Lin Xian sneered and took the initiative to attack. He took a step forward, and mysterious Tao inscriptions appeared under his feet. He was extremely fast. In an instant, he was in front of Yen Kuan from the Wavering Light Sacred Land. Black Dragon Fist of Destruction. He threw out a punch, and a violent aura surged. His fist was like a black dragon that rushed forward. Boom. Yen Kuan from the Wavering Light Sacred Land narrowed his eyes. He did not expect his opponent to be so fast. Moreover, his strength was so terrifying. Therefore, he could only passively defend himself. In the next moment, he was forced back dozens of steps, as expected of a disciple of the Wavering Light Sacred Land. You're really strong. Lin Xian looked at his opponent and exclaimed in his heart, if it was an ordinary martial artist, he would have been smashed into a bloody mist by this punch. However, his opponent only took a few steps back and was slightly injured. One had to admit that the disciples of the Wavering Light Sacred Land were extremely strong. In fact, the young man in front of him was far stronger than Ding Peng and the other prodigies. It seemed that Yen Kuan was right. The disciples of the Wavering Light Sacred Land were indeed qualified to look down on others. However, it was a pity that he met Lin Xian. Lin Xian was not an ordinary Danzong disciple. His combat strength was unimaginable. The Great Dragon Sword Soul was an offensive saint technique. In addition to Lin Xian's talent, his attacks were extremely powerful. On the other hand, Yen Kuan from the Wavering Light Sacred Land had a ferocious expression on his face. Embarrassing. This was too embarrassing. He was embarrassed to be forced back by a mere Danzong disciple. However, what made him even more depressed was that his opponent's speed and strength were beyond his expectations. It seemed that his opponent was even stronger than the top disciples of the Danzong. Damn it, who the hell is this kid? Chapter 1693. Yen Kuan snorted. Kid, how dare you attack me? You're courting death. Now, I'll let you know the consequences of messing with me. With a snort, Yen Kuan charged forward. His body glowed brightly, and he looked like a god with great power. With a kick, Yen Kuan's entire right leg flickered with flowing light, as if it was a sharp blade sweeping forward. Yen Kuan was only a 5-star king, but his kick was more terrifying than an ordinary 6-star king's. It seemed that the disciples of the sacred grounds were indeed powerful. Lin Xian, on the other hand, let out a long howl and swung the black dragon fist of destruction to engage in battle. Boom, 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 boom. The energy was too terrifying. Every blow could split mountains and rivers and destroy a city. After 10 moves, Yan Kuan was sent flying again. His right leg was completely numb. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. He couldn't use any strength at all. Damn it! How is this possible? Yan Kuan was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He was a disciple of the wavering light's sacred ground. He was a superior existence. Although he was only a 5-star king, even a 6-star king outside of the sacred grounds was no match for him, not to mention a mere Danzong disciple. But now he couldn't accept that he couldn't defeat his opponent. Damn kid, who are you? Yan Kuan shouted again. He couldn't believe that his opponent was only a Danzong disciple. He even felt that he had caught the wrong person this time. His opponent was definitely a disciple of a clan of the ancients or a peerless sacred ground. Otherwise, he couldn't be so powerful. Who am I? That's an idiotic question. You're here to catch me, but you don't know who I am? Lin Xian sneered. Don't be so smug. No matter who you are, I'll catch you today. Yan Kuan roared. He quickly circulated his spiritual power to repair his numb right leg. Then, with a stomp of his foot, he charged forward like a shooting star. Wind God kick! Yan Kuan roared. An unparalleled aura exploded from his body. He kept waving his legs like a mad dragon roaring in the forest. Violent winds blew in all directions, and the clouds danced in the air. A terrifying power surged out. The void was instantly shattered by the kick. This leg technique was too terrifying, incomparably swift and fierce. On the other hand, Lin Xian was not afraid at all. He continued to brandish the black dragon fist and quickly met the attack. His opponent's leg technique was swift and fierce, while his fist technique was incomparably violent. It was as if he was going to destroy the world, causing the entire forest to tremble. Thunderbolt Dragon. Lin Xian coldly shouted and used the killing move of the black dragon fist. Suddenly, a black dragon rushed out, carrying with it an endless amount of lightning as it charged forward. On the other side, Yan Kuan also roared angrily and swept away the army. His right leg swept out, and suddenly a green leg flew out like a huge dragon. The void was collapsing at a speed visible to the naked eye. One could imagine just how terrifying this kick was. Boom! When the two of them collided, a shocking explosion occurred. The violent energy caused the two of them to continuously retreat. Lin Xian used the Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps and continuously dodged. At the same time, he was slightly surprised. His opponent was indeed a martial artist from the wavering light Holy Land. He was indeed incomparably powerful. If it was an ordinary person, they would have been defeated by his attack. However, his opponent was actually able to contend with him and even fight to a draw. One had to admit that it was indeed surprising. While Lin Xian was surprised, Yan Kuan was terrified. He really could not imagine that his opponent's combat strength was actually so terrifying. One had to know that the Wind God's leg was one of his ultimate techniques. It was extremely terrifying. Moreover, he had just used the killing move, sweeping away the army. This killing move was extremely terrifying. It could definitely sweep away thousands of soldiers and horses. No 5-star king could block it, and even 6-star kings would be kicked to death. However, his opponent had actually blocked it and was not even injured at all. This was something that she did not dare to imagine. Gale boots. In the next moment, Yan Kuan roared, and 2 green boots quickly appeared on his feet. The green boots were extremely simple and unadorned. They were emitting a resplendent light, and there were strange inscriptions carved on them. As soon as Yen Kun put on this pair of boots, his aura became incomparably sharp again. "Kid, go to hell!" With a roar, his entire body turned into a green stream of light, and his speed was actually twice as fast as before. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian also frowned. Earth-grade treasure. Moreover, it was a rare Earth-grade treasure that could increase one's speed. Buzz. Yen Kun arrived beside Lin Xian in an instant. Then, a terrifying leg shadow slashed towards Lin Xian like a heavenly blade. Not only was his speed increased, but even his strength was much stronger than before. Lin Xian did not take it head-on. He used the Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps and turned into a stream of light, dodging in an instant. After missing his kick, Yen Kun snorted coldly. "Kid, this Gale Boots is one of my treasures. With it, my speed can reach an unimaginable level. You're not my match at all. Stop bragging. Wait until you can keep up with my speed." Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. "You're courting death." Yen Kun was furious. With the Gale Boots, his speed would increase exponentially. How dare his opponent look down on him? This drove him crazy. With a roar, he increased his speed again. His entire body was like a flash of green, extremely fast. However, not long after, Yen Kun roared angrily. This was because he could not catch sight of Lin Xian's figure at all. "Damn it, this is impossible. Kid, where are you hiding? Come out." He roared crazily, thinking that Lin Xian had escaped or was hiding somewhere. Whoosh. However, in the next moment, all the hair on his body stood on end. The reason for that was because he sensed that a figure had appeared behind him. Just as he was about to turn around, a voice floated from behind. "Hiding? What a joke. You just can't keep up with my speed." Accompanying this disdainful voice was a berserk aura. In the next moment, Yen Kun felt a pain in his back. His entire body smashed into the ground like a meteorite. Bang! Below, a bottomless pit was formed. The surrounding cracks were spread in all directions, and a large area of forest had collapsed. A vacuum appeared. The one who made the move was naturally Lin Xian. He used the Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps, and his speed reached an unbelievable level. Even if Yen Kun had the Gale Boots, he could not keep up with his speed at all. One had to know that no matter how good the Gale Boots were, they were only Earth-ranked treasures. Lin Xian's Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps was a martial arts cultivation method written in primordial immortal script. Its origin was definitely unimaginable. Therefore, Yen Kun was miserably sent flying by a punch. Bang! Below, Yen Kun stood up again. His hair was disheveled, and his clothes were tattered and covered in mud. He was incomparably mad and was about to go crazy. Chapter 1694. As a disciple of the Yaowang's sacred ground, he had the Gale battle boots. His speed was extremely fast. He originally thought that as long as he used the Gale battle boots, his opponent would not be able to keep up with his speed. He would definitely be beaten up, but now he realized that he was wrong. Even if he used the Gale battle boots, his opponent's speed was faster than his. He could not even catch his opponent's trace. This drove him crazy. He did not dare to believe it. So, in the next moment, he used the Gale battle boots again and rushed forward. But very quickly, he was sent flying by a punch. His opponent's speed was too fast. It was far from what he could compare to. "Damn it, I don't believe it." Yen Kun was really crazy. His whole body emitted a dazzling light. A green territory instantly surged out and enveloped the entire space. "Kid, go to hell." The wind god space vibrated rapidly as countless huge wind blades, which were like heavenly blades, slashed towards Lin Xian. The sky was hazy, and countless cracks appeared in the void. "Humph! So what if you're fast?" in my wind god territory. You have no chance of escaping. Yan Kuan revealed a sinister smile. But this time, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. Facing the wind blades that were slashing toward him from all directions, he also used the dragon sword territory. Boom! An extremely sharp sword light swept in all directions and immediately blasted all the wind blades away. What? This is impossible! Yan Kuan screamed again. His eyes were filled with disbelief. How could his opponent's territory be so powerful? It actually blasted his attack away. Damn it, what's going on? A small Danzong disciple was faster than him. How could his attack be so powerful? Was he even human? He could not imagine how his opponent could have so many ultimate moves. Kid, I don't believe it. Take my strongest move. Wind God kill. Go to hell. The green airflow in the sky gathered and formed a huge green light ball in front of Yan Kuan. It was about to explode. But at this moment, a white figure flew out from Lin Xian's sleeve and instantly arrived in front of Yan Kuan. Where did this monkey come from? Scram. Yan Kuan looked at the little white monkey in front of him and shouted coldly. The light in his eyes turned into two sharp swords and pierced out instantly. Wooji wooji, the snow-white little monkey's figure flashed, instantly dodging the attack. At the same time, he appeared in another direction. He raised his furry little paw and slapped towards Yan Kuan's head. Pa! Yan Kuan fainted. He felt dizzy, and the spirit energy in his body went out of control. Therefore, his strongest killing move, Wind God Annihilation, vanished without a trace in an instant. In fact, he even fell head first. Well done! Lin Xian laughed out loud. Then, with a flick of his finger, several sword chis transformed into countless chains that quickly wrapped around the other party. Ha ha ha! The Crimson Dragon also came out with a strange laugh. It waved its dragon claws and formed a seal, instantly sealing the opponent's spiritual energy. The two of them were very fast, and they were done in the blink of an eye. 3 seconds later, Yan Kuan also regained consciousness, but soon he was dumbfounded, because he found that he could not use his spiritual energy at all, and it was even sealed by the other party. Not only that his whole body was suspended in the air, and his body was covered in cold chains. What was going on? He was completely stunned. Just now, he was knocked out by the little monkey's slap, and he was unconscious for 3 seconds. When he woke up, he became like this. Damn brat! How dare you touch me? Hurry up and put me down, or you're dead. Pa! The Crimson Dragon swung its tail and slapped the other party. What are you shouting for? You're now a prisoner, and you still dare to threaten us? Damn snake! How dare you slap me? Do you believe that I'll skin you alive? Yan Kuan roared crazily, but what greeted him was more slaps. Soon, his face was swollen like a pig's head. His eyes were full of viciousness, and he wanted to kill Lin Xian and the others. However, he did not have the chance to do so. Next, Yan Kuan almost spat out blood, because the Crimson Dragon swung its claws and took off the storm boots on his feet. Oh, not bad. Good stuff. I can't miss it. The Crimson Dragon stretched its claws in and shook them, and its speed increased instantly. Oh, no. The little white monkey also took the other party's storage ring. Then its body swayed, and it jumped onto Lin Xian's shoulder. Lin Xian said with a smile, "Let me see, what's the difference between the Yaoguang's Sacred Land's disciples' wealth?" He probed with his soul power, and then exclaimed, "As expected of the peerless Sacred Land, this disciple must have a lot of wealth." Indeed, he found piles of subdivine crystals in the storage ring. In addition, there were many other things, such as cultivation methods, elixirs, and spiritual herbs. In fact, he even found something special. It was a green cloak. Lin Xian put it on and felt the strong power of the wind. Thinking about it, this should also be an auxiliary magic treasure that could increase one's speed. Moreover, it was an Earth-grade weapon. Hey, this cloak is not bad. It suits Ben Huang better. Boy, I'll trade this pair of boots with you. The Crimson Dragon took off the storm boots and traded it for the cloak in Lin Xian's hand. It was not suitable for him to wear only 2 boots with 4 claws, so he might as well wear a cloak. Here you go. Lin Xian rolled his eyes and gave him the cloak. Then he put on the storm boots. Then he nodded with satisfaction. Not bad, not bad. It can indeed increase speed. Brother, thank you. Lin Xian patted Yan Kuen's shoulder. Yan Kuen trembled with anger and spat out a mouthful of blood. He was mad. He was really mad. Lin Xian was right in front of him, but he was dividing his treasures and thanking him in the end. What the F***CK was going on? What was more infuriating was that he had been sealed by Lin Xian and could not use any power at all. He could only watch helplessly. The next moment, he opened his eyes wide and roared crazily. F***CK, damn monkey, you can't eat that. He found that the little white monkey had taken out a pile of supreme-grade fruits from his storage ring and was eating them crazily at the moment. The little white monkey ignored his warning and even spat out a fruit core and threw it at Lin Xian's face. He was so angry that he went crazy. In the end, Lin Xian withdrew his hand and put away the storage ring. Then he took the Crimson Dragon and the little white monkey into the air and left. Only the sealed Yan Kuen was left behind. He was tied to a tree and kept screaming. However, Yan Kuen's screams soon attracted many monsters. Miserable screams could be heard in the forest. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.